You are live.
This thing on? Looking like it. Looking like it. Howdy, folks. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Mr. Max, and this is my guide to all things Hamilton. Man, there are two screens here, and one of them I'm 2 seconds delayed. It's trippy to see me doing this stuff in this delay. Anyway, if you are out there and you can hear this lovely little voice of mine, please ring, ring, ring that little telephone so that I can give you some recommendations for just all things Hamilton, whether you want an event for this coming Arts Week, an event later on this month, a food recommendation, anything. Just call. Because Lord knows I got them. Well, while I'm here, I may as well start just with some food recommendations. You got to get a Hamilton sub if you're here. You got to get a sub. Mike's is an all-time classic. There's multiple locations across the city. If you've never had a Mike's sub, what are you doing? Nah, I'm just kidding. Mike's subs are delicious. Speedy subs on concession. Speedy subs on concession. They live up to the name. I went in there. There was one man ahead of me in line, and in time for me to get my sub, wait for the guy ahead of me to get his sub, pay for my stuff, and get out of there. It took 2 minutes flat. 2 minutes flat. So speedy subs, if you're looking for a quick bite, there's nothing quicker than them. Let's see. Andy's Subs on Kenilworth is a community institution. You can't go wrong with them. Atlantic Subs down here, it's a great value, great value. Same with Fennel Subs up on the mountain. You look at their daily deals. Oh dear, I touched the mic. Yeah. So again, I will be taking calls. I will be taking some calls. May as well shout out a couple of promoters while I'm here. First off, going to give a quick shout out to Femme Rising. They are a brilliant little collective of femme and queer musicians who gather together to put on these beautiful little showcases of talent. Excuse me. Usually you'll have a few musical acts, you'll have a funny little host, and so if you're just looking for something a little off the beaten path, highly recommend giving Femme Rising a check out. Also, Squat DJ Collective. It is run by a dear comrade and colleague of mine. He goes by Dunaway, I believe. And again, excuse me. And they are a DIY community run collective. And they're putting on new events. They're going all sorts of places. And they're hosting a great event later this month called Pleasure Committee. And if you haven't bought a ticket, I highly advise you do so. A true industrial rave in every sense of the word. Yeah, they're gonna have a few terrific DJs, including another one of my favorites in the city, Kim Yojin. He runs the Steel City Beasts Collective, which another one I'm a big fan of. Their next event is next Thursday at Anenu, so if you have the time or the inclination, pop by Anenu next Thursday for the Steel City Beasts Dub Night. Hamilton's got a big, bassy electronic sound, and I love it. Hamilton electronic music really focuses on the wubs and the whether it's in the UK garage of Dialed, or whether it's in your dubstep, your drum and bass, your jungle. It's a whole world of electronic music to explore here. Let's see what this flag behind me says. Look for the moment when pride becomes contempt. Ooh, that is a strong little what's the word? Epigraph? I think it's epigraph. No, epigram. Epigram. Who is free to choose? Who is beyond the law? Who is heard? Who is who speaks loudest? Okay. Man, we got so much stuff in here. So much stuff. Oh, I should probably bring up at the end of this month, there is going to be a live painting night at the Spice Factory. And I believe that's July 29th, like I say, the end of this month. So live painting is just one of the most underrated experiences in this city. Uh, excuse me. Um, yeah, just to see becoming, to see all these little strokes, all these colors and shapes come together to form a whole. And to see that process happen in real time is just something else. One painter who I've seen who's exceptionally talented at it is Anthony Haley. I saw him at the Junos festivities doing a nice little live painting, while another big community name that I love, DJ Fazuli, was on the decks in the back. But, yeah. Oh, and of course the Hamilton Fringe Festival, you guys. The Fringe Festival. There's so much to do. It's not just one man shows and weird little experimental plays. You've got all these different great little events. The main ones you do need to pay for. You got to get your button, and then you can buy your tickets from there. But there's going to be some great free events there too. One that I really need to shout out is the Heated Rivalry Trivia Night. And if you know ball, then you know that Heated Rivalry is just a show that you can get lost. There's so many little details, so it warms the heart and tickles the brain and nurtures the soul. Not to sound like a hippie about it or anything, but my buddy Franny, she is going to be running that trivia night, and man, she is just an encyclopedia on Heated Rivalry. I remember earlier this year when it first came out, I saw it take over her stories, and for good reason too. Like not only is it good queer representation and a very solid love story, it's just a very well made and well structured show. I'm so glad that Jacob Turney and team managed to get it down. Oh, and have any of you guys out there in TV land, seen the Super Crawl lineup yet? Because wow, so many people are bad mouthing it, and I don't know why. Everybody who's bad mouthing it needs to get a look at some local talent because there's a lot there. You'll see a lot of different tying in back to Fem Rising, a lot of musicians who are alumni through their program. They will be. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Let's see. Oh yeah, Fem Rising at Supercrawl. You'll see Harley Olivia, you'll see June Stone, you'll see Melissa Dutch. And speaking of Melissa Dutch, I do have to mention this Wednesday, if anyone's looking for something to do on a Wednesday. This Wednesday, you will see her and many other talented musicians competing at the final installment of the Road to Supercrawl competition before the big finale. And my buddy Sarah is going to be taking part of it, or taking part in it. Part of it. How can you take part of an event? It's an event. It's not a thing. I digress. My buddy Sarah is going to be taking part in it. And just to see the Road to Supercrawl competition last year was wild. I managed to see Aoife, who is quite a talented singer-songwriter, rock star, perform on the main stage after she got her winning slot. And I gotta say, they made a good choice, the jury. But any artist who takes part in that festival or in that kind of umbrella is guaranteed a spot in Supercrawl. let's see. Let's see what else is coming to Supercrawl. Murder Beats, big hip hop producer. He's going to be closing it out one night. And I actually learned this recently. He did Mac Homecoming. And was it Homecoming? I think it was Homecoming. Or was it Initiate? Whatever. And Murder Beats performed at Mac. And I'm hoping to catch him at Supercrawl when I go. And at Supercrawl isn't just music as well. The fashion showcase. If you need something fun to do at Supercrawl that isn't the usual walking around, seeing musicians, getting some stuff from a food truck, go to the fashion showcase. See some great outfits that are going to be on display. A lot of the people from last year are returning this year. And I'm very excited to see how a few of them go. James Favron and the Better Days Club, they had a terrific show. Lady Grey Burlesque, she does fashion like nobody else in this city that I know. Dope Chief, shout out Dope, I'm in the studio right now. He and his crew are going to be strutting the runway. I can still remember last Supercrawl to kick it off on the Friday night. I went to the fashion showcase and it was like nothing I'd ever seen. So they had their first model. It was silent, going down the runway, showing the outfit, and then they took to a drum kit, started drumming out a beat. Next model followed the beat, went on the runway, strutted their stuff, then went over, started playing a bass line, playing a funky bass line. Then the next person came up, showed off their outfit, picked up a trumpet, started playing a little melody. And the whole fashion show just formed this great big musical jam. And if there's anything that I've seen that kind of encapsulates the artistic spirit of Hamilton, it is that. Because when you look at it, it seems all quiet. You're thinking, what's going on here? And then, up next, you start hearing that groove. You start noticing that groove. You start seeing this city following that groove. And that groove is built upon and built upon and built upon with all these new voices and sounds. And all of a sudden, you're in an arts hub. And speaking of Arts Hub, I have my little notepad down here. Definitely not just reading this off my phone. And I have a little Mr. Max's recommendations. Now, starting tonight, the Brought Music Festival, you guys, is an unmissable Hamilton event. It's a bucket list event. Like if you can go to a Brought Festival concert, or if something appeals to you, check it out because it is Canada's largest orchestral music festival. You can, excuse me, tonight at the Brought Festival at, I believe, the Church of the Ascension, an orchestra will be playing one of the most beautiful pieces of music that I've ever heard. It's a piece called "The Symphony of Sorrowful Songs" by Henry Gorecki. And it is to hear that in a church. It's kind of a slow piece. It doesn't so much follow your traditional beat. It's just it almost builds an atmosphere the way that it uses its instruments. And to get enraptured in that atmosphere, especially in a space as lovely as the Church of the Ascension, you'll be transported. There's no other word for it. The Symphony of Sorrowful Songs. Even if you can't make the show tonight, I highly recommend you give it a listen at least one point. Because Gorecki and the whole modern classical or modern classical. The whole modern classical movement is just so underrated. Anyway, it is 80s night at Corktown, born in the 80s. It's a monthly event, and they set it up real nice. They got D-Merc and DJ Mark on the decks as always. Mark is actually the owner of Dr. Disc downtown, and on Dr. Disc, on Dr. on. And in Dr. Disc, I chatted with him a little bit a while ago about kind of the best selections for Born in the 80s, and to hear his kind of strategy for music curation is something that music curation is a topic I will always be interested in going for. What else on my little notepad? Definitely not a phone. Aha, Resonance, the new club that just opened up in Hess Village. Tonight they're hosting an event called Not Your Canada Day. And for anybody who has kind of felt Canada Day is not really for them, uh, check it out because it is. They're going to have three, cut it in half. Three terrific DJs tonight: Nihility, Silk Hogan. I can't quite recall the third one. Point is though, Resonance, Not Your Canada Day. Check that out. If you will go to Resonance's Instagram page, you can get a little. You can subscribe to their text line so that you can see when the next events are, when they're running certain adjacent events. Yeah, just go to the drop spot dialed resonance trifecta, subscribe to their laylow, and stay tuned. Let's see here. At Oxygen/Ridiculous, Oxygen by the Ridiculous Entertainment Group. I don't know what you're supposed to call it. But tonight, there will be a reggae show there. And every single reggae show I've seen in Hamilton has been one of the best concerts I've been to. Um, they won't be performing in Hamilton soon, as far as I know, but I just have to give a quick shout out to the Human Rights. They are just a terrific band with a terrific message and a terrific little ensemble. Just proof of everything a band should be. You've got a really good charismatic lead. You've got a terrific side ensemble. They all kind of follow the same. They lock into that pocket, that groove. Um, anyway, yeah. Reggae Diction and Rhythm Riders Raw, which is the acoustic arm of another big reggae group in the city called the Rhythm Riders. They will be performing tonight as well as Pinky Dread. So if you are into reggae or are into any kind of world music or just looking for an event to go to in Hamilton that isn't your rock, folk, singer-songwriter, respect to all those peoples. I love absolutely every one of them. But for reggae, you don't see it often in Hamilton. So when it shows up, you know that it's going to be good. So if you have time or inclination, come to Oxygen/Ridiculous this evening. Go see Pinky Dread, Reggae Diction, Rhythm Riders Raw. Oh, and my friends at Into the Abyss down, down King. They will be running one of their, they don't do shop shows anymore. They used to have shows in their old location. But they recently acquired a location to put on these shows, the back hall at the Eucharist Church. And there's going to be a great show there tonight featuring a lot of talented artists. And I believe, uh, never mind. Kind of forgot what I was saying. Uh, tomorrow, there's some fun events coming up. First of all, one that you will certainly see me at the Playhouse Cinema tomorrow afternoon, I believe around 4 o'clock. They will be airing a documentary about one of the most underrated names in Canadian music, Carol Pope. And if you just look into the topics that Carol Pope was discussing at the time that she was discussing them in her music, it boggles the mind. It's incredible. I am clogged like a Taco Bell toilet today. Okay. Yeah, but yeah, I believe it's called Anti-Diva, The Carol Pope Confessions. And it's just like a 90-minute documentary. Um, and Carol herself, as well as some people involved in the movie, will be there to answer audience questions. So I highly advise you go see that if you're familiar with Carol Pope, and if you're not, listen to some of Carol Pope's music in Rough Trade and on her own. Excuse me. Man, what is up with me today? But yeah, the Carol Pope Confessions at the Playhouse. Hell of a movie, hell of a rock star, and it's going to be a hell of a Q&A. So I hope to see you there. Anyway, where the hell were we? A menu. Sunday night, they're doing their karaoke. Can't go wrong with karaoke. It's just one of those facts of life. What the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, and you can't go wrong with karaoke. And at Ooey Gooey's tomorrow night, there will be a explicit collage night where you can get around there and grab yourself some scissors, some paper, some glue, and put together your parts and make a whole. Whole, because it's explicit. Pardon me, pardon my French. I brought up Melissa Dutch earlier, and her fifth Femme Rising show is tomorrow at Mills, so tickets are available online. And if you're looking for a place to find and hear new voices that you might not otherwise hear about, highly advise checking out Femme Rising tomorrow at Mills Hardware. And Monday. Man, what is there to do on Monday? Just not this Monday, any Monday. Monday always feels dead, but in Hamilton there's always something going on. And we're lucky this is the case this Monday. Uh, Idiocracy will be showing at the Playhouse. It's also showing tonight. Perfect little 4th of July movie. And if you know why, you know why. And if you don't know why, check it out. But yeah, Monday night, if you're looking for something to do, highly advise you see Idiocracy at the Playhouse if you haven't already. It's from the man behind Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, Office Space. Mike Judge is just a generational talent, and yeah, the man just has his finger on the pulse of what makes good satire. So I would highly advise you go see Idiocracy Monday. And it's not really art, but please check out the Team Canada versus Team Jamaica basketball game at TD Coliseum Monday. Tickets are running pretty cheap. I believe the least expensive ones run less than $50. So again, you're looking for something to do Monday night, come by the Coliseum, cheer on Team Canada. We pretty handily won our last game against Puerto Rico, and man, was it busy in there. Let me tell you, I'm a concession cook at TD Coliseum, by the way. It's a lot of fun. Um, but of course, Monday you've got the basketball game and Idiocracy. Highly advise going to both. Tuesday we're picking things up a little bit more. You gotta love it. Tuesday, my buddy Jack Stearns Lee is doing a show at Ooey Gooey's with a few of his friends. And I was talking why did I say yesterday? I was talking earlier about folk and singer-songwriters. And Jack, he just came out with an album, I believe it was earlier this year or late last year, and it's one of the most beautiful things I've heard out of Hamilton. It's up there with Funny Boat. Such a great band. But yeah, Jack Stearns Lee and his friends will be performing at Ooey Gooey's. So that is going to be a barrel of fun. Ah, Tuesday there will be a film playing there called Lucid, and the director and some people involved in the film will be there for a Q&A. That is always so much fun because you get to being able to talk with the directors and the people involved after the movie whenever you go see one with a Q&A. It really kind of puts into your head that this was something that had all this effort from all these fronts that again, you're bringing together so many parts to make a whole. You're telling You're telling a story. You're giving everyone beautiful sights to look at that they may not have thought to look at before. But yeah, go check out Lucid on Tuesday at the Westdale. The Westdale, they're mostly playing a lot of second run films. So if there's any movie that looked really appealing to you that was in theaters and is now kind of leaving theaters or is a little harder to see in theaters, highly advise checking the Westdale out for them. They are what it means to be a community theater. Also, everybody out there, did you all know that Martin Short saved the Westdale, or at least played a big part in it? I believe when it was first undergoing its big renovations, he made a pledge to match donations, and a lot of his money went into improving the Westdale. So yeah, I'm forever grateful to Martin Short and the whole McMaster crew that kind of developed out of Hamilton. Your Eugene Levy, your John Candy, rest in peace. I think Joe Flaherty was in that crew. I might be wrong, but yeah, check out the Westdale for second run movies, for concerts, for film screenings. There's a really good one coming on the 10th that I will get to in a moment. But yeah, what else is there to do Tuesday? Speaking of theaters, the Playhouse is currently running their Christopher Nolan on 35 millimeter series. And seeing a movie on 35 millimeter is in an age where a lot of people will forget kind of what that really felt like, since digital projection has been a thing now for about 15 years, and we've all gotten so used to seeing these digitally screened films in theaters. To see something on film and to see it actually being played out it's incredible. The colors are richer. You get to see all the little scratches in the reels, and it really makes you feel like you're in the theater. Um, One interesting little factoid I will bring up. It doesn't really tie into anything happening other than the whole 35 millimeter thing. But on 35 millimeter film, CGI looks better because if you are, say, streaming a movie featuring CGI from a DVD, what they will do is they will take the actual digitally rendered picture and they'll just kind of I don't want to say slap it on, that seems disrespectful. But that watching CGI on a digital stream or a DVD, you'll kind of notice the CGI does stick out a little more. But when you're watching something on 35 millimeter, what happens is the film grain kind of gets applied to every little frame that you see. And this added film grain really makes the CGI stand out as something that looks like a part of the world of the movie. I saw Fifth Element there in 35 millimeter a couple Christmases ago, and the effects blew my mind then, and I watched them again on TV and found they weren't as impressive, but now I know, and you know why. So yeah, come to the Playhouse. I didn't even mention the movie they were showing. Oh my God. On the Playhouse Cinema, they will be screening Tuesday, uh, Insomnia in 35 millimeters, which is maybe Christopher Nolan's most underrated movie. It's a crime thriller set in Alaska, and you get to see Robin Williams in a dramatic role, which is always a treat. Um, Al Pacino is in it. It's just a. I love. I like movies that kind of feel cold, and Insomnia is one such movie. But this Tuesday is your last chance to see Insomnia at the Playhouse on 35 millimeter because they'll be screening the last film of the series this Friday, which again I will get to. Um, but if you're looking for something to do Tuesday, check out Insomnia if you're in the mood for a good crime thriller. Whew. Let's see here. Oh, and at Mills Hardware, a a brilliant folk musician named Ariel Susi is coming to do a show. Tickets are $20, I believe. So if again you're looking for a nice queer femme artist to, or queer slash femme, I don't know if she's queer. Um, but if you're looking for again a little experience that's kind of off the beaten path, check out Ariel's show at Mills this Tuesday. Now Wednesday things are really starting to pick up, you guys. Um, if you, yes, you, have not seen Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, Nirvana with two N's, um, you're doing yourself a great disservice. But at the same time, it is based on a show. It's all incredible. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you get into the Nirvana the Band the Show web series, both their YouTube shows and their little thing they made with Viceland. Um, it's just mind blowing all the stuff that Matt and Jay are able to create and utilize in their creations. I'm sorry to go off on a little tangent once again, but I do have to bring up this strategy they use for their art. And it has to do with something I learned a bit about in college, fair use. And what that essentially means is it's a means to include copyrighted works in a piece of art or anything like that without getting a hold of the rights holders. So what they'll do is Matt and Jay, who are Nirvana the band, they will insert these little pop culture nuggets into their program, and they will just make them so that they are essential to driving the plot. So, for instance, the movie takes a lot of its plot from the Back to the Future series, and it's just the case with these characters, especially Matt, to just constantly be spouting these pop culture references. So when he does that, that's like an essential part of his character, and thus he's able to get away with all these copyrighted works and utilizing them in that sense without even needing to pay any copyright funds. I digress. Nirvana the band, the show, the movie is returning to the Playhouse this Wednesday and Thursday night on 35 millimeter. Now, I managed to catch the 35 millimeter world premiere at the Playhouse with a Q&A from Jay McCarroll, who is Jay of Nirvana the Band, and two of their cinematographers, Jared and Luca. Excuse me. So, I managed to see the world premiere with a Q&A, and to watch this movie on film, and just to watch this movie is an experience in and of itself. It's transcendent with what they're able to do. You're watching it and you're just kind of you're just in awe. You're laughing because it's a comedy, and of course you're laughing, but at the same time you're just watching it and thinking, how how is this out there? And they even bring it up a couple times in the movie itself. It's one of those programs where there isn't really a fourth wall. Like they know they're being filmed, and they kind of address the cinematographers. They might even address the audience. But if you haven't seen Nirvana the band, the show, the movie, to come into the Playhouse this Wednesday, Thursday night, um, it's unforgettable. Give it a watch if you haven't, and if you have given it a watch, give it another watch, because you're bound to catch something that you missed in the previous watch. Like, there was a joke in that movie that I didn't even catch until the fifth time I watched it. That's an accomplishment in and of itself. Back to the old notepad. Ooh. Now, I have to bring up this one place in Hamilton that it's just such a lovely, sort of heartwarming place to go. It's, I believe, in the Bernie Custis Recreation Center, and it is called the Inclusion Coffee House. And it is co-run by Larsh Hamilton, and it is a coffee house run by adults with special needs, and just it gives them so many opportunities, and you go in there, you're almost sure to make a friend. So, on that note, this Wednesday afternoon, this coming Wednesday, at the Inclusion Coffee House, they are running another collage workshop, though it is a little less explicit and a little more surreal, a little more wacky, a little more out there. So if it's you register by email, you've got it there's a limited amount of spots. So if you like the experience of creation and becoming, and again putting together these parts to make a new whole, I would highly advise that you check out the Surreal Collage Workshop this Wednesday afternoon at the Inclusion Coffee House. This Wednesday there will also at Farside be a R&B singer. I believe her name is Nostalgia. I like NOS and a little dot Talja. Excuse me. So if you are just looking for a nice little low-key concert on Wednesday night, highly advise Farside. But at the same time, at Mills Hardware, there is going to be the final installment of the Road to Supercrawl series. And what that is, if you're not aware, us, everybody in Hamilton knows Supercrawl. So Supercrawl, in partnership with Grant Avenue Studios and a few lovely little community partners, run an event where people can enter and perform at Mills Hardware for a chance to be featured on the main stage at Supercrawl. And I brought up earlier Melissa Dutch, my buddy. She and my friend Sarah will be having a show at the Road to Supercrawl this Wednesday. And yeah, she's going to be the last one up. And the finale, I think last year it was at Bridgeworks, and I think it'll be the same this year. So the Road to Supercrawl shows are free. You can just go in and check out some local original art. And you get to see who moves on to the next round. And the finale is shaping up to be a good one. I'm just gonna say that. So yeah, I might even go to the Surreal Collage Workshop at Inclusion, just because I've only been there I think once. But it was just such a beautiful time with beautiful people. Now, Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, Nirvana the Band, the show, the movie at the Playhouse once again. And excuse me, Cam Cahan and a lot of other bands will be performing this Thursday at Resonance down in Hess Village, formerly Absinthe, now Resonance. I believe it's a free show this coming Thursday there. And it is shaping up to be a good one. A lot of great punk bands, a lot of great hard rockin' bands. So if you have time Thursday night, come down to Resonance, check out Cam Cahan and friends. Ooey Gooey's. Speaking of queer and femme music, gotta recommend Mia Romantica and her buddies. They're doing a show at Ooey Gooey's this Thursday. I keep touching my hair. Why do I do that? I don't know. Mia Romantica and friends at Ooey Gooey's Thursday night. It's going to be a great show with some great people. And it's just artists like Mia and the Femme Rising crew, they tap into something. It's they're able to kind of use their music as a conduit for empathy. And that is one thing I can really appreciate in any musician. By listening to their songs and kind of examining them, as they are, you're able to hear their stories. And of course, relatable songs are just peachy keen too. But Mia Romantica, Melissa Dutch, June Stone, Harley Olivia, again, I could go on. These artists, by listening to them, you get a peek into their soul, and you take something away from it every time, and it's just a terrific experience. So be sure to catch Mia Romantica and Friends at Ooey Gooey's this Thursday. If you are looking for something a little more posh and hoity-toity, the Brought Music Festival will be playing at, I think it's called the Wilson Hall in McMaster, and it is going to be a night of operatic love songs, and it is called Quanto Amore. I think that means like how to love. How I know quanto means like how, and amore is love, of course. That's amore. Um, it's a little expensive. Uh, Not even that. To see legitimate operatic talent singing these songs that were written hundreds of years ago that are still able to resonate, it's incredible. And I know a lot of people they might not be too fond of opera, but I say don't knock it till you try it. So the Brought Festival, Quanto Amore, can't miss that. And at Henry's on James, which might be one of the most underrated music venues in the city, the jazz club and lounge. I don't want to say it's a lounge. It's Henry's. It's Henry's. But at Henry's this Thursday, there is going to be a electric jazz fusion show inspired by the works of the godfather of science fiction, Isaac Asimov, and it is going to be Snuggle and the Ali Brothers. I have seen jazz is one of those things. It's like reggae and Hamilton. When you see it showing up here, you know you're gonna get your money's worth in the show. I went to see a electric jazz fusion band not too I guess it was kind of long ago, but it was either this last winter or the winter before that. I saw electric jazz fusion band called Harmolodics at Into the Abyss. Highly recommend them. But of course, Snuggle and the Ali Brothers, their show Thursday night is going to be one that is just and it English is hard. Yeah. So that's Thursday night. And Friday. We all know what's coming up Friday. It is Art Crawl. Gotta love Art Crawl. Gotta love Biko Foods and his hot sauce free samples. Gotta love all the little bands that pop up. Gotta love Dirty Hippie. Gotta love all the people who are doing their knitting and crocheting. The skateboarders at the end, the hot dogs. One place at Art Crawl that I would recommend anyone pop by is Ringside? Yeah, Ringside. They always host DJs and bands. So if you're looking for something to do at Art Crawl, highly advise just checking out Ringside and jamming out. And on that note, speaking of music and jamming out, at the courtyard of the at the courtyard of Hamilton Artists Inc., there is going to be a terrific DJing event run by Trima, who are a big DJing outfit within Hamilton. They've got a lot of great names under their roster. Shout out Geneva, especially. But yeah, again, if you're looking for something to do at Art Crawl, why do I keep doing this? You're looking for something to do at Art Crawl that doesn't take up too much time, that won't end up feeling like its own event, and you'll end up having missed most of Art Crawl. Head to the Hamilton Art, head to the Ink. Head to Hamilton Arts Inc. Check out the courtyard, check out the DJs, and check out your moves. Now, tying into that, speaking of dance moves, performing at Oxygen/Ridiculous on that Friday will be a band that my good colleague Tariq has performed with before. I believe he opened for them. But the Lemon Bucket Orchestra, they are one of the best kind of eclectic acts that I have seen touring. It's this great big ensemble, and again, everybody locks into the pocket of the groove and creates such a beautiful little nice sweet jam. But if you are looking for something to do that night that isn't art crawl, maybe you're just kind of peopled out for the week. If you're looking for something to do Friday art crawl, check out Interstellar at the Playhouse. I had mentioned earlier the last film in their Christopher Nolan on 35 millimeter series. Interstellar. I saw Interstellar there a couple years ago. I even got a commemorative poster out of it. It's beautiful. But the way I saw Interstellar was in digital projection, and Interstellar is just one of those movies where it's perfect to see in a legitimate theater, because it feels like that movie is, it takes over the atmosphere of the theater in a way. It's like you're there with them, and you can't get that experience watching Interstellar on your TV at home. You're enjoying it, but to be surrounded by all that sound design, it's worth going to the Playhouse honestly just for the sound. They have a great surround system to get every little detail. They have DTS and Dolby to help encode their sound digitally and get a richer sound than the soundtrack on the film. Uh, Interstellar on 35 millimeter at the Playhouse is an experience that you will not forget. If especially if you haven't seen Interstellar before. And again, if you have seen it before, it's worth seeing it again on 35 millimeter just to fully take in the scope of it. Christopher Nolan's a director we all know really loves his film, his physical film. You'll always see him promoting his IMAX stuff. But 30 to see something on 35 millimeter, it literally is a moving picture because it's frame after frame after frame of film scrolling and scrolling and scrolling by, and that's just that's a movie at its core. It's a moving picture. So Interstellar at the Playhouse Friday night. If you're not interested in art crawl, highly advise giving them. I keep saying highly advise. I feel like an advisor for a king. Your Majesty, I would highly advise that you take this course of action. Yes. Anyhow, I digress. The House of Adam and Steve will also be hosting something that night at the Hamilton Prop House, which is an incredibly underrated spot just to pop in and check out because it's a landscape in and of itself with how they structure their props. And kind of the key to all that is their big life-size train car, like an old locomotive would carry. And you get to go into the locomotive. Sometimes they host movie nights in there. But my buddies at the House of Adam and Steve, they will be doing a circus-themed drag night there. And a circus-themed drag night on a train is something you are not going to come across often. It's not on in a train car. Excuse me. Oh, and of course, how could I forget? Art Crawl is running at the same time as the Because Beer Festival at Pier 4 Park. There's going to be some great bands coming up there. Dwayne Gretzky, Big Wreck, and so much more. Uh, I'm tempted. I'm so tempted to do the two festivals in one day, but I just feel like that would tire me out for the rest of the week. Excuse me. Now, going back to actual festivities at Art Crawl, um, again, have to shout out Melissa Dutch. Recently, she made a music video based on a song she performed called Skinny. It's all about the way we see our bodies, and again, it's like a look into someone's soul listening to her music. Um, anyhow, she will be performing at a little exhibition that she is co-running at Co-Lodge, which is right next door to Farside. Formerly Monday Press, rest in peace. Um, I believe the name of it is Under the Skin, and it's all artistic exhibitions that have to do with the way we perceive our body and the bodies of others. There's going to be an open mic there, and then afterwards they'll be moving down to Farside to do a little shibari dance party. Shibari meaning like rope work. It's really impressive, some of the stuff that you see in that realm. And if you're looking for something to do after Art Crawl, After Crawl 3.0 by Dialed is going to be a legitimate rave in an abandoned warehouse, and I could not be more excited. They're going to have some all-time classics running the DJ decks. They're going to have the whole room bumping. They're going to have a great little setup in there. The address is not getting revealed till the day of, so you're going to have to get a ticket if you want to know where it's going to be. They sold out of their first two tiers of tickets before they even before they even posted the poster. All they did was say, "Hey guys, we're going to be hosting an event here." They didn't even do a poster, and it was almost sold out. So tickets are running real fast. So if you want to go to a legitimate warehouse rave on Friday after Art Crawl, get in touch with the Dialed team, the Drop Spot team, the Resonance team. Get your little information set up. See if they can send you the link. And again, it's just going to be an experience not to forget. Yeah, so much to do at Art Crawl. Honestly, just go to Hamilton's art galleries. There's so many art galleries down James Street and Ottawa Street in particular. If you're looking for something artistic to do this Arts Week, but aren't really looking for an event in mind, if you just want to be in a space with art, the Crown and Press is one of my favorite places in the city. It is a hybrid cafe and art gallery. So at the front, you can pop by the counter, get your coffee, your pastries, your little meals, what have you. Um, excuse me. Oh, actually, yeah, there's a napkin here. Fancy that. Man, where was I? Oh yeah, the Crown and Press. It's run by Julia Veenstra, who's a big prolific name in the Hamilton art scene. If you like the works of Dope Chief and Bombshell, Julia Veenstra very much has that style of expressionist color, and I don't know, it feels like when you're looking at one of Julia's paintings, it's like you can feel a wind blowing through your hair. It's like it's sweeping. It's hard to put into words, but sweeping sounds like a good word to use for that. So just pop by the Crown and Press this Arts Week or whatever. They usually have touring exhibitions around there every so often. So highly advise giving the Crown and Press a gander. Now, next Saturday, the Because Beer Festival goes into the next day. But at the same time, just across the Bayfront at Bayfront Park, there's going to be the Afro Jazz Festival, which I would love to check out. Because they again, I keep saying it, jazz is just one of those genres that when it comes to Hamilton, you know it's worth checking out. And that Saturday the 11th is also going to be, speaking of Squat and Dunaway, the first of 2 day parties that will be held at and then you from 12 till 4. And it is going to be part of Squat slash Dunaway's Mix Common series. And what that is he ran a 3-week DJing workshop for anyone willing to get invested in the art or in the community or in the mere act of helping build the DJing community. Keep saying community. So Saturday the 11th from 12 till 4, it will be the first round of acts who got their training at the workshops. And having seen them myself, I can say there's going to be a lot of variety and a lot of great tunes. So Saturday afternoon, I almost forgot to mention, at those day parties, there's going to be fresh matcha. And I love a bit of matcha. And that evening at a venue, there is going to be one of just an impeccable DJ duo, Colors, and it's Lapel, Lapelle, and Roderick, Roderick. And they will be doing a back-to-back all night at a venue, bumping some crazy tunes. So if you're looking, a venue's got stuff during the day and in the evening for Saturday the 11th as well. Let's see here. Let's see here in my little handy dandy notebook. Beer. Oh, I think that's it. Yeah, so those were my little notes and recommendations for things to do and people to see and art to witness. But yeah, I can feel it in my bones. This next art crawl is going to be a great one. It's loaded with talent. Anyway, may as well give some food recommendations while I'm here. Hey, if you're in downtown, if you've got some cash on you, Tony G's has some of the best pizza by the slice. Oh my goodness, I'm getting a call. Who could this be? Yeah, hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Next Friday. Well, it is Art Crawl next Friday, and there's lots to do during Art Crawl, but are you looking something kind of within that circle or away from Art Crawl? Oh, I said there's going to be in the Hamilton Artists Inc. courtyard, near James at Cannon. There's going to be a terrific little blend of DJs who are going to be performing there, including Geneva, who's a local favorite. And down the street at Co-Lodge, next door to Farside, there is going to be an exhibition called Under the Skin, hosted by one of my favorite local artists, Melissa Dutch. And it's all to do with the way we perceive our bodies and the bodies of others. There's going to be a little open mic there. And then once that's finished, there is going to be a Shibari DJ night at Farside next door. So yeah, no shortage of stuff to do at Art Crawl, but I would highly advise either the Hamilton Artists Inc. courtyard or Co-Lodge. No problem. Have a great day. Goodbye. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. I'm just thinking about what I'm going to do at Art Crawl because when you're there's just there's some parts of Art Crawl where you think to yourself, I want to stay here and just be here as this event unfolds and see who comes and what happens. But you just want to explore. You just want to keep exploring. I will say, Art Crawl is a fantastic place to people watch. It's like a full page spread of Where's Waldo, except everyone's Waldo. That's how I put it. Everyone there is their own beautiful little spark of humanity. and they each express themselves in a different ways. You'll see goths, you'll see punks, you'll see furries, you'll see skaters, you'll see jocks, you'll see preps, you'll see nerds, you'll see all shapes and sizes. And yeah, Art Crawl, it's it's almost like an encapsulation of Hamilton within its own little space. Anyway, from here, I'm gonna bring on some stuff. While it isn't a part of Arts Week, I would highly advise that. Again, I keep saying highly advise. What is with this? Um, Couple other local events in the coming weeks, not next week, that I can recommend to anyone. Thursday, Steel City Beasts. Thursday the 16th, I want to say. But the not this coming Thursday, but the next Thursday, Steel City Beasts at a venue. It's bass night, it's dub night, so that's going to be plenty of fun. And let's see here. Oh, of course. Regarding Squat and Dunaway, there's going to be a show called Pleasure Committee that's coming up later. It's the 21st, 22nd. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head, but yeah, follow Pleasure Committee. Keep your eyes out. Man, this is a nice little space, huh? What else is there to do? Oh yeah, there's so much stuff going on at a lot of Hamilton libraries. Um, I believe my local branch is hosting a puppet show this coming Tuesday. And you gotta love a puppet show. You just gotta. And I believe that the Hamilton Public Library Central, they're showing a movie called You, Me, and Tuscany on, I believe, a Tuesday. It looks very sweet. And the July 10th will be the Smash Brothers tournament at the Central Library on that regard. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I think till I get another call, I'm just gonna go through this list again because it took me about an hour to go through it the first time. So that way, anybody that calls in can. Yeah. Anyway, starting back off, Saturday tonight. It is 80s night at Corktown. DJ Mark and D Merck spinning those classic tunes all night long, all vinyl. And so many people there are they dress to impress, and that's pretty damn impressive. I remember the last time. I think they have this great big inflatable Stay Puft Marshmallow Man that they bring out for all their events. Yeah. Oh, Not Your Canada Day at Resonance. Highly advise checking them out. Oh, wait, I thought of another food recommendation. So if you ever find yourself in the Stony Creek area, particularly around Fiesta Mall, there is a brilliant little Mexican restaurant called Maria's Tortas Jalisco, and they make these delicious sandwiches. They're tortas, and they do more than just tortas. They do tacos, they do burritos, they do all your classics. But recently, they had a problem with their roof, and they are back open, and they deserve way more appreciation. So Maria's Tortas Jalisco, you just can't go wrong there. There's so much variety. It's run by a mother-daughter duo. The mother was actually a singer back in Mexico. Um, but Maria's Tortas Jalisco, Jalisco, in Stony Creek. I If there's a better Mexican food place in Hamilton, I've yet to think of it or go there anyway. Speaking of Mexican food, If you have not been to Macy's Food Mart on Cannon and checked out their birria tacos, and they're open 24/7, so you can get them anytime. It bears repeating, you're missing out. What else is going to be an art crawl, come to think of it? Oh my god, I haven't even really expanded on the Hamilton Fringe Festival. There's so many good shows at the Fringe coming up this year, you guys. Including one of them, Rebel Spirits, featuring the incredibly talented Devin Bateson, who is either still performing or has just finished. If you're watching this, Devin, hi, Devin. Him and his equally funny partner, Justin Shaw, they are it's like peanut butter and chocolate. They're a duo, and they're going to be doing a show called Rebel Spirits. And if you've seen them as the detectives, again, the name of the detectives escaped me at the moment. But Bateson and Shaw, their show Rebel Spirits at the Hamilton Fringe is looking to be a real gutbuster. And on that regard, someone who you will often see around the art crawl circuits, the brilliant Larry Smith. He and his partner John Reamer, Bill Reamer, Reimer. I can't quite Andrew Reamer. I can't quite recall his first name, but Smith and Reamer. They put on a show last year at the Fringe, and it is called "The Giant Monster That Ate Hamilton in 3D." And like I say, I love any form of art that serves as a tool for empathy. And as much as I love them, and as much as I love hearing stories and why they matter, sometimes when you go to the Fringe, you just want some good fun. And if you're looking for fun, Smith and Reamer, Giant Space Monster That Ate Hamilton 3D, there's your fun. So much of it, too. And at St. Luke's Mission, there's going to be a great show. Uh, it's weird. I can remember the subtitle, but not the title. The subtitle is A Comedy of Airs, Heirs, not like AIR. Comedy of Airs. And it's set in ancient Greece. Give me 1 second. I'm just looking it up on my notepad. It's a comedy of airs. My buddy Johnny's going to be in it. And if you're again looking for another great funny play at the Fringe, highly advise checking out it. I'm just going to find the name here now and riff for a little while longer. Hamilton Fringe Festival. Ba-ba-ba. Let's see here. Let's see here. Tickets. Da-da. Yeah, but the Fringe's free programming is always worth checking out. Hopefully they do the Disco Cab, the Disability Cabaret, this year. Oh, one show that I'm pretty excited to see how it pans out is called a live mixtape, and what that is, it features a very good hip hop producer, English, and he, as well as the incredibly talented Tariq, who I mentioned earlier, as well as as well as Kitoko Mai as her character of Messi, will be performing their raps in time to those live beats. So come check out a live mixtape if you can. And on that note, one of Kitoko's good comrades, Claude Spadafora, she's going to be doing a crazy looking one woman show called Tamp. And it's, if I have the time, I'll check it out. But like, it's it's just incredible that she was able to make all that material based on a Tamp. But yeah, I'm very excited to see so many plays at the Fringe coming up. Now let's see here, the St. Luke's Mission. Aha! I found the title. The title of that upcoming play, which my buddy Johnny's going to be in, that I highly recommend anybody out there sees, is For What We Labor. And I'm reading the plot here now. For What We Labor, this farce takes place in ancient Greece in the house of the Eliministae. The daughter of the house is pregnant. Gasp! and her attempt to escape her inherited duty is foiled, grown, by the return of the baby daddy, Tenterhooks. This original tale is narrated by an expelled member of the Greek chorus. What can go wrong? Watch as the house dissolves into chaos and hijinks, leaving the housekeeper to clean up the mess. So that is For What We Labor at the St. Luke's Mission at the upcoming Hamilton Fringe Festival. Let's see here. Center for Talking Arts. That's a good little intimate venue. Like it, if you want to feel like if you want a show to feel personal, then Center for Talking Arts has you covered. A great returning production company who played there last year, Fake Cult Productions. They will be running a show there this year called Schedule Your Improv dash authenticity, the self, and WTF are you talking about? And here's the description for that. What happens when a hyper-rational, left-brained, and very logical philosopher encounters the psychedelic? He overcorrects and finds himself in a radically unscheduled and improvised life of an artist. Complete artistic freedom, however, does not lead to great works. He needs to schedule his improv. Unable to submit to any entity that tells him what to do, he decides to create his own cult to live well and escape the nihilistic absurdity of the universe. Well, that's a cult I can get behind. Moving on, The Last Hornblower, the other show playing at the Center for Talking Arts. And it looks to be a one-man show, which I always love. The Last Hornblower. Do not ask for whom the horn blows. Nobody on the Grande Torino did. The greatest soccer team Italy ever assembled simply rolled up their sleeves and confronted their opponents. Even the gods fought their demons while the horn bellowed from the deep in Ragnarok. We are never powerless and never alone. Through the ageless art of storytelling, we'll sound the horn that inspires us to step up when time is always against us. Doesn't that sound charming? Now, what's playing at Theatre Aquarius Studio? That's always a good place to catch a show. I saw a terrific one there last year called The Pole Shebang by a woman named Andrea James Louis. And she was able to use her pole dancing skills to tell such an effective story about the life of a person in her profession. Oh, now, I had mentioned Giant Space Monster earlier, but I have here another returning show at the Fringe that I've heard plenty of good things about. Church Boyfriends and Other Impure Thoughts by Alison Fishburne. It says a tour de force of personal storytelling about the coming-of-age sexuality of an evangelical Christian teenager in Florida and the boys who were too intimidated to go the distance with her. Church Boyfriends debuted at the 2023 Fringe Festival, where it won Best in Venue at Theatre Aquarius. There's Bateson and Shaw. Delightful. Oh, Townsperson number 3. I have heard tell about this one. And I'll read this out here. Have you ever watched a musical and thought, what's going on with these townspeople? Probably not, but we're here to show you. Townsperson number 3 follows the chaotic, dramatic, and absurd lives of two townspeople as their kingdom slowly freezes over. Inspired by the meticulously detailed and rarely seen backstories that ensemble members create, this is the unhinged comedic ode to musical theater you didn't know you needed. Please note, this is a play about a musical. There is no music, so it's a play. Now, I love a good musical as much as the next guy, and what's even better than a musical is something that deconstructs a musical. Check out Title of Show if you haven't. That's a fun one. Hope and Joy. What could this be? Also at Theatre Aquarius. Oh, Hope and Joy is an interabled theater duo starring Crystal Hope, a woman who has Down syndrome, and Morgan Joy, who doesn't. Join them as they relive and perform their moments of learning, growth, and support, tackling everything from finding love to getting a pap smear. The show confronts and honors beauty, frustration, and the comedy of living with another person, disability or not. Wow. Wow, there's so much to do. Oh, the Westdale. I saw some great shows at the Westdale at the Fringe, including one that Claude and Kotoko helped to create called Bimbos in Space, which I really hope returns to Hamilton in the years to come. If you ever see anything about a Bimbos in Space coming out in Hamilton or Toronto, give it a go. There's our live mixtape at the Westdale. Wheel and Turn, an original play. After Aya, a young teacher and writer, overcomes cancer, her wheels take her on a transformative journey to Africa. But when she returns home, she is heartbroken by a devastating series of events. Depressed and uninspired, she throws herself into a project, research about the late Jamaican poet and playwright Louise Bennett Coverley, better known as Miss Lou. The surprise that comes may just be the thing she needs to heal her heart. Check out this semi-autobiographical musical play written by and featuring award-winning author Nadia El Hone, writer Kevin Herron Jones, and Jamaican songstress Olivia Carter. I love that. And what I love about what the Fringe does, and again, the name of that show was Wheel and Turn. What I love about what the Fringe does, a few shows there, they have what are called affinity performances. And an affinity performance is meant to be a show that is to be attended by the demographic that it appeals to and discusses. So, for instance, Wheel and Turn, the play about that Jamaican playwright and all that, that is going to be an affinity night for Afro-Caribbean and Black. Ah, I got another call. Who could this be? Yellow. Yes, it is. Not bad at all. Just peachy keen. How you doing? Oh, howdy, Olivia. Well, I am a concession cook at TD Coliseum, and man, is it fun. Yeah. Oh, oh yeah. Well, each day brings come things to like and things to dislike, but it is always a fun time at the Coliseum, especially when I get to work a concert. Yeah. Oh, well, right now I'm just trying to get into my artistic groove and make some more art. But usually after work, if I have the energy to do it, and if I don't just want to crawl into bed, I will go to the club and dance. It is never a bad idea to dance. That's one thing I've learned from a lot of my colleagues. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. No kidding. Which club? Me too. Look at that. Last time I went was, I believe, last Saturday. Yeah, 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 yeah. And then especially tonight they're going to have their Y2K throwback night, and that's like a signature event of theirs. It's always a lot of fun. Oh, they have a few resident DJs there, and every month, I believe it's like the first Saturday of each month, they do have their Y2K throwback night. Brilliant. Yeah, I'll probably pop by there for a bit tonight. Likewise, keep up the good work. Toodles. I love when people say toodles. I just think of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. You, hell yeah. Yeah, anyway, so much to do. So much to do. Now, where were we? Ah, yes, the Fringe. What else is playing at the Westdale? Tilt. Tilt. A couple's rocky domestic life takes a turn when a shocking secret comes to light. What secret? You decide. Tilt begins as a fully scripted piece of movement theater that is thrown into an improvised tailspin. What follows is a totally improvised continuation of the story, complete with improvised technical design and new characters, and concluding with the couple's ultimate decision. Have their relationship torn apart or stick it out despite it, or have their relationship torn apart or stick it out despite it all. That's interesting. I love anything that blends improvisation with legitimate writing. I love that because you know how some of it's going to go, but you don't know how it's going to turn out. So that's Tilt at the Westdale at the Hamilton Fringe Festival. But yeah, I'm especially excited to see Rebel Spirits, Tamp, a live mixtape for what they something. Oh, why do I again? Why do I keep remembering the subtitle but not the title? It just makes no sense. For What We Labor, I think it's called. Yeah, For What We Labor. And it's a great deal too. For about $50, you can get a Fringe benefits button, and you get 3 shows, and that's 3 different live original performances. Well, some of them aren't wholly original, but I'll get to that. And just the access to all the wonders the Fringe has to offer, and I believe there might be some discounts on it this year. I'm not totally sure. I digress. Um, Another play at the Fringe that I've been meaning to watch, or that I mean to watch because it's not on yet, is an adaptation of a novel by Dostoevsky, and it's called Notes from Underground. And it's a great early little work of paranoid fiction. Like it shows kind of the mistrust that our society places in us, and it's going to be a great little adaptation. I'm very much looking forward to seeing how they interpret it, because to adapt anything from one medium to another, you have to make certain changes. And sometimes those changes are for the better, sometimes they're for the worse. But I find, especially in the realm of literature to theater or film, being able to capture everything that the author writes down, especially if it's someone like Dostoevsky, who is very much driven by that sense of psychologicality and getting into the inner world of the protagonist. It's just interesting to see how writing like that is interpreted when it's moved to. Oh my goodness! Man, we are picking up here today. Yellow. Speaking. Howdy. What's going on? Well, give me a day and I'll tell you something. Well, tonight, one event I can particularly recommend. It's done with the in collaboration with the Brought Music Festival, and it's going to be at the Church of the Ascension. It's going to be a live performance of one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever written. The Symphony of Sorrowful Songs, I know, is the name of the piece. So if you look into the Brought Music Festival website, get your ticket, and being there in that space, surrounded by that music, you will feel as if your soul has been lifted. Not a problem. Have a great day. Yeah, the Brought Festival is, you've just got so much good stuff with it. And it doesn't just count for those orchestral performances. I know a short while ago, they recently had a tribute show with a Billy Joel and Elton John tribute, the Piano Men. And I love that kind of thing. Let's see what else is happening in the Brought Festival outside of Arts Week. Goretzky Immersive. That's that. Oh, I think there's going to be a surprise orchestra pop-up somewhere downtown this Wednesday. I don't know where it's going to be downtown, but I've heard, a little birdie told me, that a live orchestra pop-up is coming up, and you got to keep an eye out. Oh, speaking of transcendently beautiful pieces of music, July 23rd at the Church of the Ascension, you'll be able to hear one of the great English composer's masterworks, and that is The Lark Ascending by Rafe Vaughan Williams. Again, just to exist in a space with that being produced before you. Music speaks to a realm of thought that can't be easily expressed in words. Music is just something that you feel and that you witness. Oh, I say oh because I noticed there are a couple other very appealing pieces to be played at this performance as well. The Lark Ascending is a relatively short piece compared to the Symphony of Sorrowful Songs. Um, but you'll also be able to hear some Sibelius, Valse Triste, Fratres by Arvo Pärt, excuse me, and the Siegfried Idyll by Richard Wagner. But yeah, Rafe Vaughan Williams, The Lark Ascending is, again, you have to see it to believe it, or be there to believe it. Saturday the 25th, Blockbuster Night. Ooh, and where will this? The Burlington Performing Arts Center. Not in Hamilton, but I still got to shout it out. And that is the National Academy Orchestra of Canada, who are also one of the performing acts at this year's Supercrawl. Gotta love them. Let's see here. Let's see here. There we go. The First Ontario Concert Hall. Oh, they even renamed the main performance space to the Boris Brott Great Hall. You gotta love it. Two all-time great composers, Beethoven and Stravinsky. July 30th on the Thursday at 7:30. There will be. Ooh, wow, that's a triple header actually. So July 30th at the First Ontario Concert Hall, the Brat Festival will be hosting a performance of Beethoven and Stravinsky with a little bit of Mendelssohn mixed in there too. I gotta love Mendelssohn. But they will be performing Beethoven's Eighth, which might be his most underrated symphony. Everybody always talks about the Ninth and the Fifth and the Seventh, and a lot of them deserve their respect. There's no other composer like Beethoven. But the Eighth is one that you just don't hear a lot of people mentioning. It's up there with his Second Symphony actually. But anyway, July 30th, Beethoven's Eighth, followed by Stravinsky's Petrushka, which is a piece of music composed for a ballet, and it's nice seeing the ballet, but again, just to be there to see the orchestra, to see all these parts come together to form this great whole, to hear all these harmonies come together, to hear all these phrases intertwined and intertwine and lift and fall. You can't forget it. So, yeah, July 30th at First Ontario Concert Hall, Beethoven and Stravinsky. And July 23rd at the Church of the Ascension, the Lark Ascending. And tonight at the Church of the Ascension is the Symphony of Sorrowful Songs. Yeah. I don't want to skip ahead into July, but I'm just gonna say there's some really good looking stuff in August. Uh, but yeah, the Brat Festival, and I'm a guy who loves his Hamilton festivals. The Brat is one of the most supremely underrated. What else? What else? What else? Should I talk about Supercrawl some more? I think I'm going to talk about Supercrawl some more. So Supercrawl this year, you will see a lot of great headliners. I've seen so many people on the internet say, "Oh, Supercrawl's so lackluster this year. Oh no!" But no, it isn't. Protest the Hero's great. Isanabe is great. So much greatness. A lot of people just don't know where to find it. Excuse me, I gotta blow my nose, everybody. Man. And again, I haven't even started talking about the Festival of Friends. Festival of Friends, a favorite of mine, Feist, is going to be headlining there. Festival of Friends is great. It's always a bit crowded, but it's great. I wish Gage Park would host more events, or more high-profile events. They host some great events there. There was the Francophone Fest. There was the Taste of the Philippines Festival. So much to appreciate in Gage Park. Really, just Gage. If you need a place in Hamilton to while away the hours and just kind of watch nature go by and watch people enjoying their time, Gage Park is it. Gage, especially if the greenhouse is open. Man, I cannot wait for the next fall mum show. And at City Hall, they have a little display of different little topiaries and flowers that is the announcement of their new theme for this year's Fall Mum Show, and it is going to be the Wild West. And I am intrigued because the Mum Show it's one of the longest running Hamilton traditions, and it's perfect for all ages to stop and smell the flowers, especially the chrysanthemums. They are just so lovely. Yeah, yeah. Who else is going to be playing Festival of Friends this year? By the way, if you were at It's Your Festival this year, props. Uh, the old-fashioned lemonade stand at It's Your Festival is the best lemonade you'll ever try. And I remember the big thing about it that I like when they squeeze the lemons for their juice, they will just place a whole squeezed half lemon into your cup with a bit of ice, and it's just the perfect blend of sweetness and lemoniness. Now let me see here in my notepad. Festival of Friends 2026. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, that's the. There it is. Ooh, Chantal Krevaziuk. That's a name you won't want to miss at the Festival of Friends. Extremely talented woman. Maestro Fresh Wes. Maestro friggin' Fresh Wes. Like, the godfather of Canadian hip hop. Like, that. You can argue that claim, but kind of. It was with him that it kind of felt like it really took off. Let Your Backbone Slide is a jam for the ages, and I cannot wait to see him. And if you think he's bad, you can suck my sacroiliac. Anyway, Brad Roberts of the Crash Test Dummies is going to be there. Personally, I'm honestly not too fond of the Crash Test Dummies. I find it's brooding, but to see a talent like Brad playing that festival is just brilliant. And Sharon of Sharon, Lois, and Bram. I believe they were recently at a festival, I think somewhere else in the GTA, and they held a big sing along. And I really hope the same thing happens this year because that's generational names in Canadian children's entertainment. Now, what else? What else? Teenage Head, Canadian classics. And it says here many more surprises to be announced. Well, if they're announcing it, then are they really surprises? I kid, I kid. Regardless, very excited to see Feist at the festival this year. But yeah, the Because Beer Festival, they're going to have some great acts too. Big Wreck, I actually saw at the Festival of Friends some odd years ago, and they rocked the place. Like I know it's a generic thing to say because it's rock music, but they did rock the place. I remember walking home from the park where they were playing. I it was about a 15-minute walk for me to get home, and by the time I turned down my street, I could still hear them. Wild. Them and Dwayne Gretzky, and one of my favorites, Superstar Crush, I believe, are performing there as well this year. Superstar Crush, on that note, also playing Supercrawl. Isn't it great how things just link together? Let's see. Teenage Head, Hamilton Classics, and Blackie and the Rodeo Kings will be hosting. Ooh. Yeah, July 31st to August 2nd, Festival of Friends, Gage Park. You can see me there. But yeah, seriously, a question for you to think about and take home today is what's your favorite fairground ride? Because I love a Gravitron. I love getting in there, feeling it spin around and feeling all trying to move my arm up and things, and I'm all locked in place. Then again, can't go wrong with a good swing carousel. Like it's a lot like a regular carousel where you don't really ride that for exhilaration. You go on a swing carousel for a nice little reprieve. But it is also exciting in its own way because you're just going around and around and you're so high up. It's just incredible. Gotta bring it up again. There will be a live painting exhibition at the Spice Factory later this month, at the end of the month. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, I know. I can shout out a couple of bands and acts that I saw at the last Supercrawl. So again, Dirty Hippie is an institution at Supercrawl. You've got a didgeridoo, a drum, some wind chimes, and it's with those simple little ingredients that you can make miracles happen. And one act that really impressed me that I saw as well were called the Taproom Gang. And the Taproom Gang were a jazz act, but it was all retro, kind of Dixieland jazz. You had a banjo player, you had a clarinetist, I believe. But I remember passing by, everyone stopped to hear them. It was like something you could dance the Charleston to. Oh yeah, another friend to shout out who has been at a few supercrawls and who's a brilliant little artist in her own right. Eleanor Abrahams. Eleanor Abrahams is one of the most broadly scoped talents that I have seen. She's a poet, she's a musician, she loves movies, and I'm just excited to see anything Eleanor makes. So keep an eye out. Her stickers are hilarious. If I have one about Willibald Purple Seltzer in my room, I cannot say it on this stream, but it's hilarious. A lot of them are on the raunchier side, that being said. But regardless, worth it. Worth checking out Eleanor when she's selling her stickers. She does a great one making fun of the old golfy stretch. Uh, other art crawl artists to keep an eye out for. Again, just it's a good time always going right to the end near West Harbor Go Station and just watching the skaters do their thing. I love seeing them do their little ollies and flips and tricks. And the hot dog stand right near the end. Everybody talks about it, but my Hamilton confession is that I have never tried their hot dogs. And whenever I go to Art Crawl, I see all these people with the hot dogs in their hands, and I always look at them and I think, why did I eat before I came here again? Those hot dogs look delicious. I gotta try an Art Crawl hot dog. But yeah, especially excited this Art Crawl for the Under the Skin exhibition with Melissa Dutch and company. I will just look forward with great anticipation to anything she comes out with. Oh, and on the topic of artists who are not quite performing this coming week, but within the month of July at Ooey Gooey's, I highly advise you go to see Jump Coven perform because they are a band unlike anything else I've ever seen. They are their own genre. They it's labeled as glam punk on their page, but really it just transcends that to me. Like it's not quite pop, it's not quite rock, and it's not quite punk. It's just kind of a blend of all three, and it's interesting because rather than your standard singer, guitar, bass, drummer, their ensemble is piano, saxophone, bass, drum. And to hear that contrast against a typical, I don't want to say typical, that seems insulting, against your average punk group, Jump Coven just does something with their music that tickles a part of my brain that it can't, I don't even know what it's called. But yeah, their first single is out on YouTube. It's called It's Still Friday the 13th in California. Oh, and as for upcoming festivals in Hamilton, gotta bring up 905 Fest. Shout out Triggs. 905 Fest, they've come so far in all these years, and it looks like this next show is going to be their biggest and baddest yet. And I am very much looking forward to see how Triggs and his team play that out because they recently got some grants to help host their programs there. So 905 Fest this year is certainly something worth keeping your eyes on. Let's see, what are the festivals? Art Crawl, Because Beer, Afro Jazz Fest, Super Crawl. I don't know if I should count. No, they're different festivals. You know, I'm just going to go through the Super Crawl lineup and go, ooh, because there is a lot of acts at Super Crawl, my friends. But yeah, highly advised coming out this Wednesday to the Road to Super Crawl at Mills Hardware, because Melissa and a few other great acts are going to be performing there, and you'll get to see who is going to be the final lineup for the big grand finale to see who's going to get that main stage spot. And again, I saw last year's winner on the main stage, Aoife, Aoife, and she was just impeccable. She and her band really put on a show. Oh, now that I remember, I have it here on the back of my notepad. You knew it wasn't a notepad, but right here, the Book of Funk, the act that put on that show, the Book of Funk, DJ's Flying Circus. They will be performing at this year's Supercrawl on the main stage, and it is just just like the Lemon Bucket Orchestra, or it's a large group with all sorts of different talents, and DJ and Margaret are just such wonderful people, and they really put in the work to what they do, and I gotta give them credit every time. Like I say, I love them so much. I put a sticker on the back of my phone. That's how much. And they're gonna be they will be performing on the main stage this year, and I am very excited to see where they're put, because they seem like a perfect opener, and they do a little gimmick that I have not seen a lot of other acts do. And what they do is, in between some of their songs, they will let the performers who are performing as a part of the ensemble sing their own solo material. And I just think that's incredibly clever. I've only seen James Favron do that. Another great individual, and his Better Days Club are going to be doing their little fashion show at Supercrawl. So that is one I will not want to miss. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Muses. The Muses are. What are the Muses? The Muses are the resident costume ensemble at Hamilton Theatre Inc., which again, more about them lately. They recently, this year, did costumes for Anne of Green Gables and Grease, and it's on another level with how they were able to craft these things that look like they were plucked right out of the past. So, highly advise checking out the Muses at Supercrawl at the fashion stage for when you do go. Now then, let's see. Let's see. Ooh, yes. Club Closet. They are a terrific ensemble. They are a DJing and rave promoting and all around slaying collective. And they will be having their next fashion showcase at Supercrawl this year. And you might even see me up there. You might even see me there. I don't know. We'll see. Uh, and again, got to bring up Lady Grey. Her Lady Grey, she's done a few little fashion showcases, and she embodies that kind of dark, alternative, sort of avant-garde aesthetic that I see around Hamilton all the time. And she and her crew just embody that spirit of, I don't want to say they're punk, but she has a big friggin' mohawk half the time, so like, yeah, it's punk. Punk fashion's great. Uh, Steel City Slither, I know, speaking of burlesque, Eshe and her crew are going to be doing a couple of dance performances, and I believe they'll be having their own little fashion show at Supercrawl. So keep an eye out for Steel City Slither and Eshe. She actually recently made her drag debut as Gorge Michael at Mactini, which is a terrific venue that just started hosting shows. It's queer owned, and they have some great little comfort food and snacks. So if you're looking for a nice little spot on Ottawa Street to unwind, uh, Mactini is your place. Crown and press during the day, Mactini at night, you're set. Now then, where are we here? Oh, Anthony Haley. I brought him up earlier. He's going to be doing some more live painting at Supercrawl, just as he did at the Junos event. And let's see, Caesar Cordoba. He makes all these great little structures out of found material. I've seen him at the Fringe. I've seen him at Art Crawl. I've seen him at Supercrawl. If I say the fish bike, he's the man behind the fish bike. And Caesar Cordoba and he's going to be doing an installation at Supercrawl, and I can't wait to see what he comes up with. And then they're not native Hamiltonians, but at Supercrawl you've got to keep an eye out for Big Nazo because they'll be impossible to miss. Strange little performance art troupe of people who dress up in these wacky alien costumes and help to build the vibe. So yeah, Big Nazo. Supercrawl, a lot of it is about the music, but it's not just about the music. Last year they recently held a dance contest, and they had this great big checkerboard dance floor, like the kind of thing you would see somebody do breakdancing on. And there was a lot of breakdancing, to be fair. But I just remembered walking by, and then all of a sudden there's this dance contest that's starting up. My buddy goes, "Hey, there's a dance contest. You want to see?" And so I go, "Sure." And that's just a lot of what Supercrawl is. I could talk for hours and hours on the kind of things you'll see at Supercrawl, but I'll still not even get to the half of it because you just got to see it to believe it when it comes down to it. Now, other Supercrawl acts. Oh, Born in the 80s, who will be doing their event at the Corktown tonight. D-Mark and DJ Mark, they will be playing a couple of sets at Art Crawl or Super Crawl like last year, I believe. I don't know if Anthony Haley will be DJing too, but I hope so because that guy's good on the decks. Now, let's see. Ooh, the Super Crawl cosplay showcase. Cosplayers I have so much respect for because it just comes down to that aspect of bringing all these parts together to make a beautiful whole. And cosplay, it helps that there's a big part of it that's already out there, but it's the DIY spirit of how they're able to take those many little things or bits of fabric, little wigs, dyes, all these kinds of things. You throw them all together, and then all of a sudden, you're somebody else from your favorite thing. And so the Supercrawl cosplay showcase certainly be worth checking out. Alongside, usually they close out the fashion showcase each night, the Sapphire Poison Drag Extravaganza. And it is pretty extravagant. Because when you're coming out for Supercrawl, you're in it to win it. Other musical acts I might know. Brought up Superstar Crush, brought up the National Orchestra. Kerry Clark is one who looks very promising. A lot of classic Americana and folk revival stuff. The Fabulous Wonderfuls, incredibly talented guys. And on that note, who are also performing this week, Golden Feather. I brought up Into the Abyss earlier. The main guy behind Into the Abyss, Bradley, he is a key member of Golden Feather, and they're this great big Grateful Dead style jam band, and they, like I say, I've extolled the virtues of these multi-piece jam-based caught in the pocket bands time and time again, but I'll say it again. They're always great and they're always worth watching. Yeah, but Golden Feather will be opening up at the Bridgeworks this week. I believe it's either Tuesday or Wednesday, with a band called Goat, and I love goats. So you gotta you got a feather, you got a goat. But I can tell Golden Feather are gonna rock the Supercrawl stage. They will build a vibe. I don't want to say like no other act in there because ultimately, kind of getting caught in that groove is what builds a vibe in the first place. At least the way I perceive it. Fiora. How have I not mentioned Fiora? They are a incredible pop punk slash hardcore. Like it's punk, no doubt about it. But it's I would this kind of the sound of pop punk with the energy of hardcore punk. Fiora is one of the most talented performers I've seen, and put on a they give it their all every time. And again, just to see, I saw Fiora back when they were playing the Casbah when it was closing down, but to see Fiora get into the Supercrawl stage, they actually played the Junos not too long ago. Uh, but I can I feel it in my loins that Fiora is gonna. Yeah, I kind of ran out of words on that one. But yeah, Fiora's gonna rip rip it up. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so many good ones. I remember last year, Godspeed You Black Emperor did just an incredible show. They being there and hearing that huge wave of sound wash over downtown, seeing it with the backdrop of all these old skyscrapers and looking up at the sky and seeing the stars. Seeing that was one of those moments that made me glad that I'm here at this time. Like that all of it leading up to then was worth it. Ooh, Center 4. Center 4. Another great name. Brilliant contemporary art gallery on James. I've been there a couple times during Art Crawl, and they've always killed it with their exhibitions. So Center 3, very excited to see what they have coming up in the coming months. Moby, heard good things. Fabulous Wonderfuls, Dumb Crush, born in the 80s. Let's see here. Steel City Swing Dance. Swing Dance, gotta love it. I love how much Hamilton Arts you will see has a definitively retro bent. You'll see burlesque acts, and you'll see these swing dancers, and you'll see the Taproom Gang playing Dixieland jazz. Hamilton's a place where a lot of people come together, but it's also a place where a lot of time comes together. And just that kind of reaching out across time is an aspect of Hamilton art that I wish I could see more of. And that's why I love to extol the Brat Festival, is because so much of the music that you'll hear there was written 50, 100, 200, even 300 years ago, and yet it still touches our souls to this day. A lot of people say classical music is only for the fussy, but I say the opposite. There's a reason classical is so classic. But I am speaking of which, that Stravinsky Beethoven thing with Beethoven's Eighth and Stravinsky's Petrushka. Petrushka. Okay, so Petrushka is. Excuse me, folks. I got a little thing I'm seeing here. At the market. Begging your pardon, folks. what was I saying? Oh yeah, Stravinsky. He's a in that modern classical bent, and his work, a lot of people will perceive it as very dissonant and noisy and kind of harsh, but that isn't entirely true. Petrushka is a good example of what Stravinsky can do if he wants to make something sound harmonic in his sense. But yeah, the Brat Festival, it warms my heart to see that they even renamed the uh, the main hall after him, after Boris Brat. What a legend! I think I got to meet him one year. That was a while ago though. Yeah. So as we are nearing the top of the hour, I'm just going to be running over all of the little notes that I wrote for my recommendations for things to do this week. Tonight, Not Your Canada Day at Resonance with Nihility and Silk Hogan and Company. The Be sure to get a hold of Resonance or Dialed or Drop Spot to get a hold of that link so that you can get your tickets while they're still out there. Pinky Dread and Regadiction and Rhythm Riders Raw down at Ridiculous. And they're gonna kill it, I can just tell it. Let's see, the Symphony of Sorrowful Songs at the Church of the Ascension for the Brat Festival. I'd love to see if I can make that this evening. 80s Night at Corktown with DJ Mark and D-Merc. And the Into the Abyss show at the back hall of the Eucharist Church. Admittedly, I've never been down there before, but I would love to make my way down there for a show. Anyhow, Sunday, going back to Sunday, at the Playhouse at around 4 o'clock will be the documentary on the great Carol Pope, featuring a Q&A from the woman herself. Karaoke night at a venue from 8 till midnight. If you want to come down and sing your little heart out. That's the thing with karaoke. Karaoke isn't about singing bad or singing good for that matter. It's about singing together. It's about finding the space to be with people that are close to you and that you like a lot, you love a lot. It's being with those people you value and expressing yourself creatively. And then karaoke is always a perfect place to do it. It's a great sound system, and you'll rock it if you go there. Paolo and Gabrielle are just such cool guys. Anyway, Sunday, Mills Hardware is also Femrising 5. 4 brilliant acts and a comedian to host. And they will be putting on a hell of a show like they always do. I just feel a lot of FOMO about missing the last one with Melissa. Because, again, such an incredibly talented singer. One thing I like about Melissa is that she utilizes dance as a part of her song. Like, she does not stand still when she sings. She moves her arms, she moves her legs, she moves her torso. She can't stand still as she sings, and I really appreciate that. It reminds me a lot of Kate Bush, and something I learned how the in-ear microphones that a lot of acts today use for their concerts was practically invented so that Kate Bush could continually move and dance as she sang. And I find that's a realm where Melissa really prospers. She feels her music with her whole body. But the acts that are going to be there are just as great. So on Monday and also tonight is Idiocracy at the Playhouse. Again, a perfect 4th of July movie for these times. And Monday, tickets are still running cheap for the Canada versus Jamaica basketball game at the TD Coliseum. Yeah, it's Jamaica. I was asking myself in my head if it was still Puerto Rico, but no, I remembered. I was there. But the Canada versus Jamaica game, you can get to see the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander Legacy Court. You see the Aries Atrium with the huge mural of him and his son. Just if you haven't been to check out the Coliseum, that'd be the night to do it. Um, I went there earlier this year with my mother to go see the PWHL game, and apparently we won. Okay, I gotta piece together what I'm trying to say here. So, by engaging with those sports, say the basketball game, whether it be the PWHL game, the TD Coliseum hasn't even finished its first year of operations since its renovations. So it's important that everyone show out to those events to see that in Hamilton there is an audience for this stuff. And just there's lots of good times to be had at the Coliseum. There's some great shows coming up later this month. The next one is Ella Langley, and I believe that's sold out, unfortunately. But after her, it's going to be one of my sister's favorites, Melanie Martinez. She's going to have a show at the Coliseum of all people. Uh, and I can't wait to see how that turns out. I will be working that day. And then next month, there's going to be a Japanese pop duo called Yoasobi, who seem incredibly talented. And then following that, late in August, is going to be a doubleheader of adult contemporary classics with a singer from Canada and a singer from Mexico, Brian Adams and Marco Antonio Solis. Marco Antonio Solis, I'm very eager to see how the crowd turns out for that show because he's a big star in the Americas, and Hamilton just seems to have such a thriving Latino community. It makes me so proud. But yeah, Marco Antonio Solis, and then there's going to be a lot coming up this fall with the arrival of the Hamilton Hammers and the PWHL team. We're just the Coliseum. I've talked about it with a lot of people how it's a great example of if you build it, they will come. Everyone was saying that this will be a big revitalization for Hamilton art scene, even though it's just one thing. How much could it matter? But it does matter. It really does when it's a big venue like this one that excuse me, it's one that you're going to have people coming from all around to not just in Hamilton to see all the things that are happening there. You've got a lot of great restaurants around, so that boosts the local business. You got a lot of great clubs for people to unwind. I know recently after the Neo Akon concert, which was just a wild night, a few different clubs had after parties there, and that's perfect proof of how this one thing has been able to boost up so many other things. Like you'll see it at, and I remember the one club night was actually hosted by Neo himself. That was very appealing. Uh, Cat's Eye will be coming there later on this year. They're an act that I've always been curious about. It's like nothing else I've ever heard. It's a mixture of pop and EDM and R&B. It's an international group, which I appreciate. You've got talents from all corners, and that Cat's Eye is another sold out show that I really hope I'll get to see play out at the Coliseum. Hmm. How about Hamilton? Oh yeah, Father John Misty is coming to Hamilton Place. Great folk rock artist, great great performer. A lot like a lot of artists in this city. A lot of his songs allow you to kind of get a look into his soul, and I really appreciate that in music. I know later this year, Beetlejuice the musical. Hmm. Let's see. What is coming to the First Ontario Hall? First Ontario Concert Hall. I already brought up that Beethoven Stravinsky thing, and I'll keep doing it because they're two of the all-time greats. Bonnie Raitt. Ooh. Bonnie Raitt, what a talented lady. What a talented guitarist. I always find that at Hamilton Place, a lot of the concert acts that come there are well, I don't want to, I don't, I hate to put any artist down, but I always find that whenever I've gone to a concert or been at a concert at the First Ontario Concert Hall, it kind of leaves me with a lasting impression of I'm glad I went. And yeah, so if you choose to go see Father John or if you go see Bonnie Raitt later on in September, they're going to be doing an all-time favorite of mine, Jim Henson's Labyrinth, and they're going to be doing it with a live musical score. It's incredible. Um, man, I'm gonna go check out more of the Brat Festival. Check out what they've got in August because there's just so much coming up in Hamilton. It's hard to just limit it to July. The Brot Music Festival. Oh, La Boheme by Puccini. Oh, that's going to be at Theatre Aquarius. No kidding. An all-time classic Italian opera coming to Theatre Aquarius Thursday the 16th and Saturday the 18th. La Boheme. I believe that Rent is based on that opera. Um, wow. Yeah, all four acts, huh? Hmm. Yeah, see, I'm so caught up in all this, I didn't even manage to catch that. There's just too much to mention. Oh yeah, the Broad on the Waterfront. It's a free admission concert. They do it at the Waterfront stage at Pier 8. Excuse me. And it's always nice when a great view is combined with great music. And you're able to kind of see the two act in tandem. So as you hear this orchestra perform, you can kind of watch the water come in from the bayfront and see how those two juxtapose themselves in your mind. There's Appalachian Spring. Ooh. Ah! Another call. Who could this be? Yellow. Hi, not too bad, not too bad. How's it going for you? Howdy, Edie. Got, so I've heard. Yeah, Edie is just Edie is always out there. People on the live stream. Edie, whenever every big art crawl and super crawl, you see her taking her Polaroids. That's one of the best times to get a little look. And it's $5, is it? $4. Oh yeah. Well, here's a tip for all of you out there. If ever you see Edie, go and get yourself a Polaroid. No problem. You need any recommendations for things to do? Oh yeah. 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 Well, when you're at Art Crawl, please come on down to the Hamilton Artists Inc. courtyard because they are going to be hosting a great little set of DJs there. Yeah. So make it out there if you can, and if you can, go to Farside and check out their little DJ night that they're going to be having there later on. Talk to you later, Edie. See ya. Ah, can't go wrong. Oh my goodness! I just realized something is happening tonight at the Hamilton Artists Inc., and it is going to be the Hamilton Stampede. And with that, it's going to be a rootin' tootin' night of fun with some live music and some great little events to see. What else at the yeah, just pop into the Ink whenever they're open when you can because they Hamilton is a hub for contemporary arts, and the Ink is one of the places where you can best see that in its playing out. Like most everything you will see at the Ink will make you think. And that's ultimately what I feel as if good art should do. Of course, there is art should always be beautiful, no question about that, but it should also spark some thoughts other than wow, this looks good. But yeah, come down to the Stampede there tonight, or come down to the Ink for Art Crawl for the little DJ night. Oh, what's happening at the Westdale later this month? West. Da, 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 getting to the Westdale. Oh, another Hamilton must do if another bucket list kind of thing is go and see one of their candlelight concerts there. Uh, I remember a buddy of mine went to go see the Four Seasons by Vivaldi when they did it, and they said they'd go 1,000 times again. Oh yeah, the Westdale's hosting all the Fringe stuff this month. Duh. What is happening? Ooh, Thelma and Louise showing there on July 30th, an all-time buddy movie. Anything coming up in August at the Westdale? There's a lot of fun stuff coming up at the Playhouse in August, and I'll get to that. Uh, oh, August 7th, Daniel Lanois, Hamilton legend, who is behind the production of a lot of iconic records and is an equally talented musician in his own right. Daniel Lanois is going to be doing a show at the Westdale. So if you want to see a piece of Hamilton history, that'd be your spot. And oh, they're doing Ferris Bueller's Day Off in August too, August 9th and 11th. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, it's one of those where I call it a perfect movie. Like, I cannot think of a single thing wrong with it, other than kind of how the behavior has aged of certain characters in the movie. I can't think of it. No way. An all time favorite action movie of mine is also going to be playing at the Westdale on the 16th and 18th, and that is Big Trouble in Little China by John Carpenter, featuring Kurt Russell, James Hong. Why are those the only two people I can think of that were in that movie? Well, it's so much more than just its actors. But if you can see Big Trouble in Little China at the Westdale, I highly advise you do, because it's just one of those movies that there's no other movie like it. It bends genres in a way that you don't often see, and it's great because it's a movie where the protagonist is really the comic relief. Like, he thinks that he's the hero. He thinks that he's going to be the one to solve this, but really, he's just tagging along to make the jokes. But he doesn't realize that, and Kurt Russell plays that role to perfection. Now, at the Playhouse, what do we have later this month? Interstellar on 35mm coming Saturday. Mm-hmm. Oh, the 4K restoration of Boogie Nights. Paul Thomas Anderson's just like no other director out there. And to see the 4K restorations at the Playhouse, if you can't make it out to a film screening, that's the next best thing because it does its best to try and capture that. Strangers on a Train is returning to the Playhouse for its 75th anniversary. One of Hitchcock's best. And they're speaking of Hitchcock, they will also be showing Rope, which is a movie he made. And it's very interesting how he did it. It was so ahead of its time because it was shot to look as if it were one continuous take. And the fact that he was able to pull it off in the day and age that he did still boggles my mind. Oh, for Art House Film Day on the 30th at the Playhouse, you can catch Network, which is a lot like Idiocracy, one of the best aged satires of all time. A lot of brilliant classical actors just giving it their all. No way. I was tying in John Carpenter to my thing at the Westdale because they're showing Big Trouble in Little China in August, but the Playhouse is showing They Live on the 31st. Oh, that's a classic. You ever wonder where that chew bubblegum and kick butt line comes from? That's where. And Roddy Piper delivers that line better than anyone else could. I saw the TV Glow. That is a movie that's coming back to the Playhouse that I saw when it originally came out, and it is a narrative and And it is a narrative that is rarely seen in modern horror, where it almost feels like more of a tragedy or a drama than a horror, but it's horrifying in its own right. But it's an essential watch. It's one of the most effective cinematic works for this current generation. And it's just the perfect reminder that there is still time. Now then, what else? What else? What else? August. Austin Powers. The original Austin Powers coming back to the Playhouse August 1st and 5th. And Cat Video Fest at it's always a big charitable event that they do at the Westdale. And it's a bunch of cat videos, but it's cat videos for a good cause. And it's one thing to see a cat video play out on your phone, but it's another thing to see it play out on a theater. You're just kind of thinking to yourself, this cat has no idea that it's on the big screen or that it's going to end up on the big screen. So Cat Video Fest, if you're looking for a fun little thing to do at the Playhouse next month, this coming August, that's it. And wow, oh my, I'm sorry guys, what a stacked lineup! Wow. Yeah, Friday, August 7th and Monday, August 10th, both at 9 p.m. James Cameron's Aliens, the director's cut, is going to be returning to the Playhouse for its 4K restoration. And a lot of people would argue that Aliens is better than the Ridley Scott original. And ultimately, yeah, I would consider myself one of those people. And it's important to see it in theaters as well. And on that note, regarding classics later in August, Jurassic Park on 35 millimeter. The probably an I don't know if it's a re-release copy or an original copy, but to see Jurassic Park is to kind of witness something that had never been witnessed before in cinema, because that was the first real big movie to come out that featured surround sound, or at least digital surround sound that wasn't. The point is, see Jurassic Park again on your phone or on your TV is one thing, and even if you've seen it 100 times already, it's fine. But to see it play out on film the way it originally played at the Playhouse is a transcendent experience. So keep your eyes on the Playhouse in the coming month because there is going to be oodles and oodles of things to do there. Oh, August 19th, I ought to mention. August 19th, they will be running a series that they do called It Played at the Playhouse. And what that series is they will play old silent film from the 20s, the 30s, really old school, some of it more than 100 years old. And they will play it with an accompanist, I think is the word for it. Someone accompanying the silent film, like actually playing the piano, like you would imagine for an old silent film. And so this coming one, or this coming It Played at the Playhouse next August, is going to be for one of the greatest comedy movies of all time, plus a little short film attached. It's going to be for Buster Keaton's The General. Who might this be? Hello? Hello? That I am, yes. Yeah, there's a bit of a delay on the video. Sorry about that. Oh, the video is running great. I've just been sitting here talking. It's fun. Yeah. You need. Sorry, man, am I ever? There's lots of fun stuff happening this week. I there's so much. One that I am very excited for is tomorrow at the Playhouse, and it's a screening of a documentary plus a Q&A, and it's called Anti-Diva: The Carol Pope Confessions, and she was a classic Canadian rocker in the 70s and 80s, singing about a lot of stuff that wouldn't become mainstream, and Carol herself will actually be there for a Q&A. So that's tomorrow afternoon at 4. Um, and this coming Wednesday will also be the Road to Super Crawl concert series at Mills Hardware, and that's free to attend. You just need to RSVP, and it's there. It's the final installation of it, but it's better late than never to check it out. You can see 5 different acts compete for a chance to advance to the competition, where they will be playing to see who plays the main stage at Supercrawl. Yeah, so Melissa Dutch, no question. Yeah, she's great. Her colleagues are actually a few of the competitors up there for the prize as well. But just knowing Melissa and knowing the care she puts into her music, I am crossing my fingers for a win for her. Rightio. You enjoy the rest of your day. See you around. Now then, where were we? Oh yeah, the Playhouse. The Playhouse is my favorite place in the city. I've been there, I would say, more than 100 times. Like if I've been going there for about 2 years now, and there was a point where I would go see a movie at the Playhouse at least once every week. Anyhow, what was I on about? Right. So August 19th at the Playhouse is going to be It Played at the Playhouse. And what that will be is they will be screening the classic silent film The General with Buster Keaton, as well as a short film he made later on called The Railrodder. And both The General and The Railrodder will be running with a piano accompaniment. So it will be just as if you are watching that silent film at the Playhouse all those hundreds of years ago. And to just be a part of that history is so appealing. Now, what other movies are coming to the Playhouse? I already mentioned Jurassic Park in 35 millimeter. Uh, Aliens, the director's cut. Barbarella, a classic pulpy sci-fi movie made in 1968. Blazing Saddles will be screening there for Mel Brooks' 100th. It's another all-time great comedy. That's coming on the 14th and the 17th. Sleepaway Camp, one of the classic sleazy slashers of the 70s of the 80s, will be showing on the 20th. And Marilyn Monroe's Gentlemen Prefer Blondes will be showing on the 23rd and 26th of August to celebrate her 100th birthday. And Crocodile Dundee for its 40th anniversary. Again, once I get going, I can't stop. But the ones I'm excited for this month particularly are the Boogie Nights restoration, the Carol Pope Confessions, which I will be at tomorrow, um, Nirvana the band, the show, the movie on 35 millimeter. I'm so glad that's coming back after its 35 millimeter engagement that it had at the Playhouse. Uh, I learned a very useful piece of advice from one of the people at the Q&A. I was asking them how the movie came together in the editing room, and he had told me that the movie focused so much on reshoots that they needed to that they just kept needing to, after seeing their whole movie edited out before them, they just kept reshooting and reshooting to kind of make the movie the funniest version of itself that it could be. And he said, shooting is writing, reshooting is shooting. And that has kind of changed my outlook on how movies are made, knowing that even though we might see something as a finished product when it's all made according to plan, we look at it and we can realize that it can be so much better. And some might call it perfectionist, but there's some things where you just look at them and you say, we can make this work a little better. And I'll use a quote that I remember hearing. A true, well executed work is achieved not when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to take away. So that's to see Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie on 35 millimeter playing at the Playhouse again just warms my heart and brings me so much joy. And again, the Westdale. I love them to bits, and I can't wait for all the shows that will be playing there at the Fringe later on this month. Again, the one I'm very excited to see there is a live mixtape with Kitoko Mai, Tariq, and English. It's just such an interesting concept to have kind of all. It's the Fringe is a great spot when you find performances that don't necessarily fit the label of theater. Oh, hello. This guy. Um, Now, where the hell do I go next? Yeah, the Playhouse, man. There's just so much to be excited about there. But yeah, of course, I gotta keep shouting out again, Fem Rising at Mills. And then later on this week, there's going to be another Fem artist performing there who I'm very happy to see. Eileen, what's the last name? Eileen. Oh, Ariel. It wasn't even Eileen. It's Ariel. Ariel Susi. Thank you. Yeah, but for a real diamond in the rough of a recommendation, I would have to go easily the Surreal Collage Workshop at at the Inclusion Coffee House in the Custis Recreation Center, and it's going to be lots and lots of fun. Because again, you go in there, you make a friend right away. You The whole staff there are just so supportive and kind and cooperative, and to see the coffee house hosting these events really makes me happy to see that there is a demand for them. But on that note, there is also the explicit collage night at Ooey Gooey's this Sunday. Excuse me. That's going to be a lot of fun. Again, I like any event where part of the event is your participation. For instance, I remembered the Playhouse had a series of movies that were running called I forget what they were called exactly, but you could craft. It was a craft along. That was it. You could bring your little craft or buy the crafts that they were selling, and you could make the craft as the movie was playing. And they made a perfect little space for that. I remember my mother went there to see Love Actually, and she had a little word search book, and she was working on it the whole time. It was just a nice little event. I wish the Playhouse would do more interactive stuff. Reminds me of an event they were holding there. It's called Talking Pictures. It's another event to look out for at the Playhouse. But it's Terry and Wendy Odette, who are some local filmmaking legends. They've run a few seminars across the city. And they do a series at the Playhouse called Talking Pictures, where everybody watches a classic, critically acclaimed movie, and then afterwards, Terry and Wendy lead everyone in a discussion. And there was a great one of those that they just pulled off, and it was Jason and the Argonauts, which is an all-time classic action movie. Yeah, really, that's why I love the Playhouse so much for their Q&As. The last one I went to was for an all-time classic Canadian movie called Going Down the Road, and they had a Q&A with one of the lead actresses there, Jane Eastwood, who has been in a lot of local productions since she moved to Hamilton, and it was so much fun seeing Terry actually moderated the Q&A. He moderates a lot of the Q&As, but I remember hearing Jane talking about how she was just so sick of making the kinds of dramas like Going Down the Road just because there weren't that many opportunities back in the age when it was made. But again, this Sunday at the Playhouse, the Carol Pope Q&A is shaping up to be a great one. And that reminds me, hearing me talk about Terry, knowing that he's done seminars, he has actually done a few with the Hamilton Film School, who operate out of the Ancaster Performing Arts Center, and that is just a lovely little building. I believe it was an old school, or at least part of one, that was redeveloped to be an art center. So they have a great big auditorium. They have a lot of little studios for people and artists to train. There's just lots of things to keep an eye out for. They'll show movies there sometimes. They'll do concerts. So right now, I'm just going to see what's showing at the Ancaster. Uh, so tonight, tonight there's going to be a local Pink Floyd tribute band playing there. And then Saturday the 18th, you will see the classic Troubadours tribute concert where it's 4 acts, and each of them is a tribute act to a different popular singer-songwriter from that era. And I believe it's Jackson Browne, James Taylor, Joni Mitchell, and Carole King. Love every single one of them, and I'm sure to see all those together would be fantastic. Ah, 60. Oh, an Elvis impersonator concert going on there. The 68 comeback and aloha, so it's kind of a throwback to Elvis's sort of late period where he did songs like Suspicious Minds. And let's see. Oh, and in August, a production of A Chorus Line is going to be coming there as well. And later on this month, from July 24th to 26th, the Junior Company of Theater Ancaster, I believe, will be putting on a production of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Yep, A Chorus Line. Let's see here. Ah, yes. It is Theater Ancaster. Mm. Oh. What's some concert? Are there any concerts in September? Yeah, for whatever reason, a lot of the bigger Hamilton venues host a lot of tribute bands, and I love that they're getting shows and everything, but I feel like a lot of them should have more space for local artists to perform. Because I see these great big auditoriums, and I look down at the stage, and I'll wonder just how good this act that I know might sound on it. And it's there's a couple of theaters in Hamilton like that, and the other one is the McIntyre Performing Arts Center at Mohawk, and there's probably going to be a few good tribute concerts coming up there soon. So I'm just going to give that a check. July 9th. Look at that. There's going to be a concert there this coming Thursday. Foreign Journey, which is a 2-in-1 tribute band for Journey and Foreigner. And then, yeah, the next concert is August 21st, and that is an ABBA tribute band. Wow. Huh. Ooh. What's the October 3rd? Dogs Do Magic. Oh. But yeah, like I say, as much as I love these great big venues and seeing them so full of people, I do wonder kind of how good it would be to see a lot of these local names performing there. The one place I can think of that does well with that is the Westdale. The Westdale hosts a lot of good local concerts, whether it's the candlelight sessions, whether it's the let's see, candlelight sessions, Golden Feather. They've done a few shows there. Daniel Lanois' upcoming show. I remember I went there for a Hamilton Fringe gala, and there were a couple of musicians. There were some storytellers, and those were really interesting to me, because we get by on stories when it comes down to it. Uh, yeah, speaking of the Fringe, let's look more into what's coming up at the Fringe this month. What is coming up at the Fringe this month? One thing I know that is coming up at the Fringe this month is Ghosts Are Everywhere at Mills, and it's going to be a little spooky show hosted by a couple of mediums. Speaking of which, did you ever hear the joke about the dwarf psychic that escaped from prison? Yeah, they're now a small medium at large. Anyhow, let's have a look at what else is at Mills other than that spooky ghost show. That ace. Oh, that's a longer name than I thought. I just called it Ghosts Are Everywhere, but the full name of it is A seance spectacular with the mystical medium wolf sisters from the Great White North. I like that. First bite to last laugh. Let's look at this. Oh, come hungry, leave laughing. First Bite to Last Laugh brings Hamilton's local food scene together with a vibrant, diverse comedy lineup for a night that hits every sense. Think cookout energy, curated local eats, plates in your lap, and big laughs on stage. It's a casual communal experience where the atmosphere is just as rich as the dinner plate. Now that sounds fun. You got dinner and a show. I don't know if it I haven't been. I don't know how large the portion sizes are, but still, you're getting a bite to eat with your ticket. That alone should make it worth it. The syllabus. This has a little professor on the cover here. Public displays of affection, mass shootings, drugs, deities. It's the first day of class, and Professor G explains why you can't send naughty photos to your classmates and why it's important to outrun the criminology. Oh my God. Excuse me, folks. And why it's important to outrun the criminology students. In this original one-act performance, you're a student again, and Professor G presents his survival guide for community college. A dark comedy about social interaction, education, mass media, and why it's important to sit next to someone who is sexually unattractive to you. Your future may depend on it. I'm liking the sounds of that. Like I was saying, one-man shows are great because it is just you and this person with a story to tell, and it's a good idea to listen to them as they tell it, because you're going to walk away with something that you didn't know before. Speaking of, how about this? No Die, or How I Left Amsterdam and Almost Died in Africa. After performing in 50 countries, Dutch stand-up comedian Fedor Ikelaar shares the story that nearly ended it. What starts as a naive trip to Sierra Leone spirals into motorbike chaos, a car crash, and a gunpoint encounter that isn't even his closest brush to death. Blending sharp stand-up with vivid storytelling, No Die is a darkly funny true story about how bad decisions, blind confidence, and somehow surviving it all. That reminds me of a show I saw 1 or 2 years ago, and it was terrific. It was all about, I believe it was a Swiss German man who grew up in Quebec on a farm with his grandmother, talking about the story of how he came to Montreal. And again, it's those one-man shows that I find are your classic fringe programming. But again, what I always like to look for is the off the beaten path shows, and the best example of that, and one of my biggest recommendations for this August, is the Hamilton Fringe Walking Tour. And what that is, I was a part of it I wasn't a part of it, but I went on one last year. And you start, I believe, at the farmer's market, and you go and weave your way through downtown Hamilton. And as you do that, you stop at different places and you watch all these little shows play out. So really, you're getting all these little shows in one, and you get a chance to see your city. So I'm just going to look up what's going to be a part of that this year, because that Cesar Cordoba guy who I was talking about not too long ago, he actually kicked the walking tour off last year with a big bird bike. That was fun. This festival, Hamilton walking tour. Here it is. Fringe on the Streets walking tour. I do believe one of them is going to be themed to a town crier, which I'm very excited for. Here it is. So the tours depart the farmer's market at the following tours. There we go. Tours depart the farmer's market at the following times: Friday at 6 p.m., Saturday at 3 and 6, Sunday at 3, Thursday at 6 p.m., Friday at 6 p.m., Saturday at 4 to 7, and Sunday at 3. What is their free programming this year, anyway? Because I had mentioned Franny and her heated rivalry quiz, which I cannot wait to see play out. Fringe Festival free programming. Here we go. choose. Fringe on the Streets. Ah, here's all the Fringe on the Street shows. Wait for it to load. Wait for it to load. Do, 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 do. There it is. The Town Crier of Hamilton. Travel back in time when doom scrolling meant reading someone's last will and testament, and notifications took the form of a town crier delivering the day's news and events. Paula Brown was an African American man who left Pennsylvania in the mid 1800s and settled in. A true story. That sounds like a lot of fun. Project Fathering Generations. In 2026, new fathers still wrestle with how to be a parent. In search of stories from those who have come before, one dad travels 30 years back in time to the streets of Hamilton to ask, so fatherhood, what's it all about? Trash bots. I like bots. Robots, not internet bots. In the not at all distant future, two robots find themselves discarded on the streets of Hamilton. Having been cast aside by humanity, one of the robots has come to the only logical conclusion: humanity must be destroyed. Who will prevail? You can help us decide the fate of humanity and robots alike. And then where I lay my head to rest. When does a person become from a place? And how does that affect where they choose to rest when their journey is over? Musings and more from Sophie, a relatively new member of the Hamilton community. And then finally we have The Hanging. The Hanging is an immersive performance exploring Hamilton's housing crisis through theater, movement, and community storytelling. Built from real testimonies gathered from Hamilton rent strikes and landlord-tenant board meetings and woven together by playwright Radha Menon, the work transforms lived experiences into a powerful public encounter. So you get to see all those shows in one little tour. And the best part is, if you find you're not too keen of it, you can just go. But I am always willing to stay for the whole tour. Because the last time I went on that tour, there were some great little shows. Claude Spadafora, who I mentioned earlier, she was doing a little show where she played a bench and had a little raccoon puppet. It was really cute. Devin Bateson, shout out Devin, he performed a satirical little number about the future where everything in Hamilton is a condo. And then you had Caesar with his big little bird bike. And the Tivoli Theater, it's a shame that place got closed down, but one thing I am very thankful for about the Tivoli was that I was able to see a Fringe on the Street show there. And it was all about how the Tivoli, way back when, used to be a burlesque theater. And they used to have all these touring companies come there and put on their shows. And this show that I saw at the Fringe on the Streets was about 4 of those girls who had come on this touring company and the experiences they went through before the show. And to see that, standing next to that little piece of history, was just an awe-inspiring experience. And I feel like this year's Fringe on the Streets is going to be no different. We're going to see get a lot of laughs, maybe shed a couple of tears, and learn a lot of little things. I will admit, though, the Town Crier one is the one I am most looking forward to. Yeah, what else is happening at the Fringe? There ought to be a program around here somewhere. There's the program. Where's the program? Fringe Boulevard. There it is. Yeah, but I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that heated rivalry trivia. 2026. Here, Foodie Fringe. What's this now? Foodie. Ooh. Here we go. By popular demand, Hamilton Fringe will once again host. By popular demand, Hamilton Fringe will once again host Fringe Boulevard. And new on the boulevard is Foodie Fringe, an on-site rotating food activation featuring some of Hamilton's hippest local restaurants and serving street dishes created especially for Fringe audiences. Also debuting this year is Nietzsche Boulevard, an entire day dedicated to Indigenous programming on July 18th. Love that. Kids Club Fun Day on July 25th. Ooh. Let's see. Let's see some more of these now. Gasworks. There's an underrated Fringe venue. Some of this is true. Written and performed by award-winning theater artist Diana Bentley, this one-woman show is a thrilling ride that will leave hearts racing and minds reeling. When Sandra Martin, the artistic director of Canada's National Theatre, finds herself at the center of a massive scandal, she is forced to unravel the events of her career and a relationship with her favorite and most esteemed actress. Rebel Spirits, I was talking about that already. First Bite to oh, I already talked about that too. Icarus is Falling, winner of the 2026 New Play Contest and written in iambic pentameter. This play retells the myth of the young Icarus. Forever overshadowed by the genius of his aging father, Icarus's world is thrown into disarray when the ancient sun god Helios appears on the roof, promising him the two things he desires most: adoration and immortality. Those sound like a lot of fun. I'm just going to search up more of the Fringe Boulevard programming for this year, 2026. On the Boulevard, what to expect. Films on the Fringe, of course. Can't miss the Films on the Fringe short showcase. One great thing about Fringe Boulevard is that so many of the events there are free to attend. And just being out in the open air and witnessing new art is just an incredible thing to do. And the short showcase is no different. I actually ended up entering one year with a short little documentary I made about my then kickboxing teacher. But a lot of the stuff that you'll see at that short showcase for Films on the Fringe is not to be missed. And speaking of open air, I will have to bring up another little artistic program that is going to be running this summer in Hamilton, and that is 73 to Infinity. And it is a hip-hop dance program that runs every year outdoors around August, September. And it's co-run by the City of Hamilton and Defying Movement Dance, who are just a terrific organization. It's always a blend of kind of modern hip-hop dancing with a lot of the inspiration that those dances come from. So, for instance, one year, they had break dancers, they had pop and lockers, and then they had an indigenous dancer, and then they had a tap dancer. So it's always a nice little blend of these different forms of dance that really touch minds and hearts. So again, if you're looking for something free to do later on this summer, 73 to Infinity has you covered. But yeah, I am so excited for this year's Fringe. I don't even know where to begin. Where will I begin? Yeah, probably Rebel Spirits on. No. Why do I keep forgetting the name of the play? For what they did, for what it was worth, for something or other, a comedy of errors. Why do I keep forgetting it? Let's see here. Let's see. John. But yeah, I'm so excited to see a lot of new venues pop up at the Fringe, especially St. Luke's Mission, which is playing host to this comedy that I can't remember the godforsaken name of. Hamilton, Fringe, St. Luke's. Also at St. Luke's, there's going to be an interesting one-man show called I Choose You, and it's all going to be about how Pokemon changed somebody's life. All right, St. Luke's Mission for all the what is it? For what we labor. For what we labor. I'm gonna keep that in my head now. But there's lots and lots to do at the Fringe, and even more to see. So I'm just gonna go back once again, since excuse me, since I have been listing a little notes that I made of the Hamilton events that I would advise. So I'm just going to be starting that again. So Saturday at the back hall at Eucharist Church, Into the Abyss will be hosting one of their shows. It'll be 80s Night at Corktown with DJ Mark and D Merck. Not Your Canada Day at Resonance with Nihility and Sulk Hogan. Pinky Dread and Reggae Diction at Oxygen/Ridiculous. That one's going to be rip roaring. And of course, the Symphony of Sorrowful Songs at the Brat Festival, which is going to be at the Church of the Ascension. I think that's the one that's been being called the Music Hall. It's right downtown. Sunday, karaoke at And Then You, the Carol Pope documentary with the Q&A at the Playhouse, Triple X Collage Night at Ooey Gooey's, and Femme Rising at Mills. Honestly, I would just recommend anybody go to Ooey Gooey's, even if there isn't an event or a concert or something going on there that night, because $5.50 for a damn good cheeseburger is a deal you will rarely find in Hamilton outside of places owned by multinational corporations. So the Ooey Gooey's $5.50 tasty little cheeseburger might just be the best bargain in Hamilton food. But then again, there is also the $5 slices at Tony G's down by King William. Because, man, those are good. It's real deal New York pizza. They import everything, even the tap water. That's how much of a real deal that it is. Femme Rising at Mills. I believe that's $20. Triple X Collage Night. Monday, Idiocracy at the Playhouse. FIBA qualifiers at the TD Coliseum. And again, Idiocracy is also playing tonight at the Playhouse. Like I say, perfect movie for the 4th of July. Absolutely perfect, especially in this day and age. Tuesday, Insomnia at 35mm, on 35mm at the Playhouse. It's going to be your last chance to see it. It's a very underrated gem. Jack Stearns Lee doing his show at Ooey Gooey's. The screening of the film Lucid with a Q&A from the director at the Westdale, and Ariel Susi at Mills. Wednesday and Thursday, Nirvana the Band, the Show, the Movie on 35mm at the Playhouse. Can't be beat. Wednesday, the Surreal Collage Workshop at Inclusion Coffee House is what I'm very excited for. I would, it's one of those places where I look at it and I wonder why I don't go there more. Nostalgia at Farside, and the Road to Supercrawl finale at Mills, leading up to the big day at Bridgeworks, I believe. Thursday, Quanto Amore Opera Night at the Brat Music Fest. I believe that's at Wilson Hall down in McMaster. Cam Cahan and friends doing a free concert at Ridiculous. That's going to be some great hard rock and energy. Mia Romantica and friends at Ooey Gooey's. Very talented. Snuggle and the Ali Brothers doing an electric jazz night inspired by the works of Isaac Asimov at Henry's. And then Art Crawl Friday. You got the Under the Skin show at Co-Lodge, followed by the Shibari night at Farside, the Lemon Bucket Orchestra at Oxygen/Ridiculous, Interstellar on 35mm at the Playhouse, the House of Adam and Steve Circus show at Hamilton Prop House, the Because Beer Festival at Pier 4, and the Full-On Warehouse Rave by Dialed. Saturday, Mix Commons Day Party at And Then You, followed by Colors doing their back-to-back, and then the side-by-side festivals of the Because Beer Festival and the Afro Jazz Festival. And of course, I mentioned Jump Coven will be doing a performance at Ooey Gooey's. They're one of my favorite local bands. Go listen to their debut single on YouTube now. It's still Friday the 13th in California. Like I say, nothing else like it. Let's see what Ooey's is doing later this month. What's Ooey's got? Oh, and the nachos at Ooey Gooey's are on another level. I'm a nachos kind of guy, and they've got some great variety in their nachos. I think it was the buffalo chicken nachos that I got there one time, and I've never looked back. Show listings. What have we here? Oh, no, that's the menu. Show listings. There we go. Upcoming events. Mia Romantica. Yeah, Jump Coven will be performing Saturday the 11th. And I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing them. Let's see. The Saints of Radio. Oh, of course. Thursday, June 16th, there is going to be a Glee Cabaret co-run by a great new little event planning firm out of Hamilton. I believe it's called Cult Heroes. But the Glee Cabaret looks so much fun because it's going to be a variety of Glee-themed events combined with an actual little mini musical that will be used to kind of cap off the night. And all funds from that cabaret are going to be used to fund the production of that mini musical. So it's very much an event to check out if you want to support some local art. Excuse me. Oh my god. Oh, I believe it's a Monday. I forget what Monday. I don't believe not this Monday, but the following Monday. At Ooey Gooey's, there is going to be a Yugoslav animation showcase. So that is all a scene that I am very enraptured by because around the mid-century of the 20th century, that was very much a time when there were a lot of these republics that were popping up in Europe. They were communist. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But one thing to bring up about these republics is that because of their beliefs, they really endorsed allowing animators to create original works and kind of find their artistic voices with the funding that they could use. I'm rambling a bit, but the point is, not this Monday, but this coming the next Monday, Ooey Gooey's will be hosting a showcase of classic animated films from the former Yugoslavia. So that's Serbia, Bosnia, Croatia, Montenegro. And if you're in the mood for something a little off kilter, that's it. And speaking of off kilter, I've got to give a special shout out to another underrated Hamilton venue, Demo Memo. It is a house venue. It's hosted in somebody's basement. But in that basement, you will see some of the wildest entertainers you will ever have the pleasure of knowing. There was a performer there recently. I think his name, yeah, Lucas Abela. He is a musician. I don't even. He's a noise musician. He uses microphones and conduits and like panes of glass. Like he'll take a big sheet of glass and smash it, and then he'll take the big shards and he'll hook up microphones to it, and he'll have a little mixing board where he can adjust the sounds that it makes, and he will just stick his face right up against those shards of glass and go to town. But anyway, recently they hosted an electronic music night there, and there will be lots of great events to come. Let's see. I know they're hosting a few emo bands there later on. I'm just going to see who those happen to be. Where is it? Where is the emo one? There it is. July 18th, so that is not this Saturday, not it's 2 weeks from now. 2 Saturdays from now will be the emo house show, where it's three different emo adjacent acts performing in this little house venue. And the venue, or the address for the venue, is private. You got to ask around. But anybody who knows the address will gladly give it to you. And the one thing I'm aspiring to see in Hamilton is more pop-up venues, let's call them, where it's venues not necessarily regarded as being performance spaces used for performances. So Demo Memo is a good example of this. All these performances happen in her house. The St. Luke's Mission at the Fringe. It's a lot of plays being performed at a church. Let's see here. Oh, the Pleasure Committee, run by Squat and Dunaway. That is going to be at a location in the North End, an industrial location. The Warehouse Rave, that's being hosted by Dialed After Art Crawl. All these kind of spaces aren't really noted for being performance spaces, but to see performances in them really just adds another level of atmosphere to them. Sorry, I have to sneeze, folks. Give me a second. Isn't it so annoying when you have a sneeze locked up in there, but you just can't get it? Frustrates me to no end. Anyway, let's get back to Ooey Gooey's. They're hosting so many people. It makes me so happy. Like pretty much every night of the week at Ooey Gooey's, you can find something fun going on. Let's see here. I mentioned Jump Coven this a week from now. The Saints of Radio. Who might they be? I don't know, but they sound really promising. One Ooey Gooey's event to watch out for that I will always recommend is live band karaoke by the Approximators. And they do some great little numbers, and you can sing along. What is coming later this month? A monthly drag showcase on this July 19th. There they are, the Approximators. That will be Saturday the 25th is the next time you will see the Approximators doing their live band karaoke. Ooh, speaking of, the very next day, Sunday, one of my favorite local bands, Smit, is going to be doing a show there. I keep bringing up all these drag things, but there's one that has crossed my mind a couple times, but that I have yet to bring up, and that is at that Mactini Bar, which is on Ottawa Street, and it's going to be a drag showcase hosted by a few brilliant performers, particularly Cherry Bomb. She's just such a little ball of fire. Here we go. It is the Hamilton Unhinged Cabaret. And the Hamilton Unhinged Cabaret, it's a limited number of spots because it is a small venue. Cherry Bomb, Rosaire, Aurora Blaze, Zombie, and a debut from a new performer, P.S., who I have seen around at a few events and who is a very distinguished gentleman. So that is the Hamilton Unhinged Cabaret. Oh, it's tomorrow. It's a week from now. It's a week from now. Saturday the 11th, go down to Mactini at Ottawa Street to go and see Cherry and friends do their stuff. Some of these names are wild. Chasing Pigeons, Johnny and the Man Kids. You gotta love it, though. I love any band with a nice creative name. July 30th, the end of this month, is the monthly Dyke Takeover. And I believe the theme of this one is blue. It's Blue Night. The Fuzz Vultures. Love that. Fuzz Vultures. Strawberry Cough. Yeah, the Approximators is the one. I don't know. I would call it quintessentially Gooey's. Where it's Gooey's is nice. It's like a little, it's almost like a bar and grill atmosphere. One thing I like about Gooey's is that you will see on the TV at the bar, they're always playing the coolest stuff. The one night when I went there, it was some Japanese movie about an Antarctic base. No, it wasn't a Japanese movie. It was a British movie. No, I'm thinking. Yeah, it wasn't a movie. It was a TV show. It was a British TV show called Thunderbirds, and it was playing on the TV there. And the next time I went in, it was a classic Japanese kaiju movie. Man, my throat hurts from talking this much. Yeah, guys, I just gotta rest my throat. I've been talking for a while, so just forgive me if I go a little quiet. Let's see what else is playing at the Corktown. Corktown's so great. The upper floor of the Corktown has hosted some great events that I've been to. And if you ever see a band that's coming there, I highly recommend you catch them. So on that note, later on, where? Aha! Friday, July 17th is going to be the next Sapphic After Dark event, if I recall correctly. Just going to correct myself if I'm wrong. Let's see here. Sapphic After Dark, Hamilton. Queer good. Aha. Yes, I was right. July 17th is the next Sapphic After Dark day. Ooh, an open. That was last year. What else? What else is playing at the Corktown? Synchronicity. They're a good band. I've seen them play before. We've got. Ooh. Starting right about now at the Corktown is a blues jam in the dining room. Aha, there it is. Saturday, July 11th, next Saturday, is going to be emo night upstairs. So bring out your inner scene kid. Laugh and dance. That sounds like fun. I like both of those things. Okay. July 31st. Hmm. August 5th. Tommy Stinson with Little Venom. Plus Rocket and the Renegades. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. And on the topic of And Then You, God Emperor is going to be coming there. A great local DJ for, I believe, July 18th. I'm just going to have to look it up here. Ah, here we go. July 28th. And Then You is going to be partnering with Friends of Casbah to host some more great indie rock acts, including a big staple of Toronto's queer music scene. And that will be 3 acts in the same bed: The Last Arizona and Jordan Mason. And it's always pay what you can for the Friends of Casbah nights at a venue. Again, Steel City Beasts is an event I look forward to each time. I love seeing all the wonderful little oddballs and fur balls that I see on those nights. But of course, got to bring up Mixed Commons once again. I just have to sing Dunaway's praises for a little bit. The guy, he's a very well-educated person in the field that he's going into, and it really shows in every event that he puts on. I've seen him perform a couple of times. The guy just he has a very good sense of groove where he's able to tell which tracks go well together in sequence, and he knows kind of the tricks and culture that lies at the heart of being a DJ. Um, he I took his workshop Mix Commons, and it was a three-parter. Geneva actually did a lecture who I brought up earlier. She's going to be performing at the Art Crawl DJing at the Hamilton Artists Inc. Uh, and it was a great little workshop, and it didn't just teach me what it meant. Sorry, it didn't just teach me how to be a DJ. It taught me what it meant to be a DJ. It shows that the culture behind DJing goes a lot deeper than just people who go on the decks and play music. It's more than that. It's a way to bring communities together. And I can that's really an admirable quality that Dunaway carries with him. So again, just have to shout out his events that are coming up. First of all, the Mix Commons Day Parties, July 11th and 18th. Those are going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be a lot of new DJs that he's helped to teach, including myself on the second day, the 18th. Going to be going on and spinning some classic retro house hits. Yeah, again, guys, my throat is so sore. And then following those 2 day parties, later on, he will be putting on the Pleasure Committee, which is going to be his first big rave style event. Probably not his first, but like his first since reinventing his collective, because it used to be called Places, but now it's called Squat. And it is in that same staple of being able to make any space into a performance space where you're able to, with nothing but speakers and decks and a good crowd, you're able to make something beautiful happen. And that is really what DJing is all about. It came about as a way, as a means of persistence for a lot of marginalized people. And it's, you gotta, every time I step onto a dance floor, I think about that. And yeah, I have tons of respect for Jeff slash Dunaway. So if you ever see that name on an upcoming performance, go check it out. Okay. All right. Okay. What else? What else? What else? Let's check out what else is happening at Oxygen slash Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oxygen. There we go. Here it is. So July 25th will be a Springsteen and Seeger tribute show at 6:30 on July 25th. And on August 15th, there will be Canada's premier tribute band to grunge, and that is Smile. One thing I'm very excited to see is they recently featured on an episode of a show that's on Crave called Drag Brunch Saved My Life, hosted by a famous Canadian drag queen named Priyanka. And every episode, she goes around to a different business to help them thrive. And she just so happened to be doing an event at Ridiculous back before it was renamed Oxygen. They're doing their Wasted Wednesdays events now. I've never been to one of those, but they seem like a lot of fun. What else? What else? What else? What else? Oh, I may as well talk about the upcoming Hamilton Theater seasons. First of all, Theater Aquarius are going to be hosting some great plays and some great musicals in the years to come, or in the months to come. This Christmas season, they're doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, an all-time favorite of mine. It's just everything a musical should be. And they're doing Matilda the musical in spring of 2027. So Theater Aquarius is definitely a place to look out for. And they are also showing a few plays, including one by a great Hamilton playwright named Mona Awad. Sisters of 66, I think it's called. Sisters of 70. It's Sisters of something or other. Ah, Sisters of 78. And that's coming this October to Theater Aquarius. And here's the description of that. From award-winning Hamilton playwright Kristen De Silva comes Sisters of 78, an unforgettable story of courage, solidarity, and the women who dared to change the course of history. Inspired by the historic Flex strike in Centralia, Ontario, Sisters of 78 is a fierce, funny, and deeply moving ensemble drama about women who refuse to stay silent. As unsafe conditions and harassment push workers to the brink, friendships are tested, neighbors divided, and an ordinary factory becomes the front line of a fight for dignity, equality, and collective power. Now, I've been to a few Theater Aquarius plays, and they are just a terrific venue for them, too. I actually saw the one play that Anthony Hopkins later starred in the movie version of, where he won the Oscar for Best Actor for it, The Father. Except when I went to go see it, it was Eric Peterson from Corner Gas, and he did a great damn job of it. Anyway, I move on. All's Well by Mona Awad. In this wild comedy from celebrated Canadian author Mona Awad, magical realism takes center stage. Miranda Fitch is destined for the spotlight until a stage accident rewrites her script and leaves her living with chronic pain. Now she teaches Shakespeare in a body that refuses direction, the students who would all rather stage Macbeth than her beloved All's Well That Ends Well. Determined to prove the so-called problem play and herself deserve a second chance, Miranda digs in. When three mysterious strangers offer her relief from her suffering, she is pulled into a surreal and unsettling journey that promises restoration. In this razor-sharp comedy about ambition, pain, power, and the cost of a cure, happy endings come with a wicked fine print. And then the last the last play is Heist. Ocean's 11 meets the theatrical stage. Five criminals reunite for one final job after a devastating betrayal. But in a world based on double crosses, loyalty is fleeting, and karma is waiting in the wings. Fast, smart, and dangerously fun, this slick theatrical caper keeps you guessing at every turn. Anything can happen, and probably will. Trailblazing screenwriter and playwright Arun Lakra brings a pulse-pounding, high-tech crime thriller to the stage, transforming cinematic spectacle into electrifying live theater. Sounds like fun. But yes, the one I'm most looking forward to is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, mainly because it stars a cast member of Heated Rivalry, and he did pretty good in that. And Matilda the musical, I'm very much anticipating as well, because I've seen the movie Matilda a couple times at this point, but I've never seen the musical. My sister read the book when she was in school, but I've never seen the musical. I've listened to the musical, I've listened to the soundtrack, and there's some great tunes, but I've never seen it before. But Aquarius is not the only Hamilton theater. You've also got Hamilton Theater Inc., which is right down at James and Cannon, and they recently put tickets on sale for their fall musical, and that will be Evil Dead the Musical. And it'll be based on the classic Sam Raimi horror movie and its sequel. All about a couple of youngsters who go out into the woods and come across a spooky old cabin with a spooky old tape recorder. And stuff just goes downhill from there. And I will admit, there's some prosthetic blood and guts in that play. And the director has said he intends to go all in on them. So I am very excited for whatever he has planned. And that is coming to Hamilton Theater Inc., Evil Dead the Musical. It is coming there about, I believe, October. Yeah, the end of October. It'll premiere around Halloween, which is going to be a perfect little way to spend that. And going into November. And their Winter 27 musical is Footloose the Musical, which is one I had a lot of friends who worked on it, but I myself have never seen it, just like Matilda the musical. Like I've always had an awareness of this musical. I knew it was a musical, but I've just never seen it before. And the spring musical is going to be Rock of Ages, which is a classic jukebox musical based on all these old school hard rock songs from the 80s. There's a movie adaptation out there, but you really can't get better than the real thing. So
the final 40 minutes.
What he said. We're four-fifths of the way through.
I'll see you shortly.
Likewise. We're just talking about theater. Anyway, so where was I? Oh yes, the Players Guild. The Players Guild. They always like to host fringe shows, and they have a great little building. It's an old restored Victorian mansion, and rumor has it it's haunted by multiple ghosts. Except it's not a rumor because I have heard tales of this mysterious place from a lot of direct eyewitnesses. Anyhow, the Players Guild, it's in a restored Victorian mansion, and it is the oldest amateur theater group in North America. They've been doing stuff pretty much since Canada has been a country. And there's going to be a few great plays. I can't bring them up off the top of my head, but one is going to involve a couple members of the clergy. I'm going to have to look it up, but keep your eyes on the Players Guild of Hamilton, because that is just one of the most interesting venues I've ever seen. The waiting room to go into the theater is literally the old living room, the old parlor. It's wild. Any other theater groups in Hamilton? I mentioned Theater Ancaster. They're putting on their productions of what was it? Was it a course? Yeah. Willy Wonka Jr., which is going to be coming out later this month. And a chorus line, which is their adult production, and that is going to be occurring next month. And then there's going to be On Golden Pond, which I don't know if it's the play or the musical. I'm just going to look it up. Theater Ancaster, I've seen some great events there. My favorite was Shrek the Musical. They did a great job of it for the budget and the resources they had. Let's see here, calendar. I do also have to mention the Binbrook Little Theater. It's kind of out there, but you got to bring up Binbrook when you can. All right, Theater Ancaster, adult programs, shows. Not that. Shows. It's going to be a real good show. Here they are. Okay, so Willy Wonka Jr. will be their junior company's first production this year. It's Willy Wonka. You can't go wrong there. January 29th to 31st, 27 is going to be Peter Pan Jr. February 19th to 28th is Les Mis School Edition. And then Glee, the concert, to round out the season on May 21st and 23rd of next year. The choral series. Community benefit. There we are. The main stage series. A chorus line runs from August 7th to 16th later this year. Following that is going to be On Golden Pond from September 11th to 20th. Come From Away is going to be one that's in really high demand. They just put out an audition notice for it, and it's a play. What I enjoy about Come From Away is that it is a musical that does not necessarily require such a broad scope as something like The Lion King or Shrek the Musical, where with Come From Away, I like to call it new wave Broadway, where a lot of it focuses on the actors and the story. Hamilton is kind of the musical that kicked that off. But a lot of these kind of new wave Broadway productions, they tend to have actors cast in multiple roles. Like I say, kind of a minimalist set design. Excuse me. Kind of a minimalist set design. Reminds me, I recently saw at Theater Aquarius the new Tragically Hip musical. It's a Good Life If You Don't Weaken, and that is going to be. It's not going to be. It's going to be playing in Kingston soon, but that's not Hamilton. Um, but to see that happen for the first time in Hamilton was magic, and the way the whole musical started off. It started off with the curtains still drawn, and the first actor came out with a guitar, and he said, "Hi, my name's so and so, and I'd like to play you a song." And he starts strumming on the guitar, and he starts strumming on the guitar, and the curtains suddenly open up, and we see all the actors harmonizing with him, showing up, showing out, and he starts telling the story, and the storytelling was so coherent and solid. The audience didn't clap till about the fifth song, just because there was no room to clap, because they had to just keep telling that story. And that's another thing that comes with that new wave of Broadway. And speaking of Broadway, I ought to mention that coming to the First Ontario Concert Hall later on this year is going to be the touring company of Beetlejuice the Musical, which is one my sister was just obsessed with. And it's going to be coming there, I think, for something like 3 days. And tickets are going pretty quickly, so if you're a big Broadway fan, it's a good idea to get those in. And later on in September, at the, excuse me, in September, later on at the First Ontario Concert Hall, a classic Canadian act is teaming up with a classic kind of worldwide act, and is going to be the Venga Boys with Prozac, Prozac spelled Prozzak. But both were big Eurodance hits around the turn of the millennium, and it's so good to see them out and performing, because I like Hamilton for artists that are famous, but they're not necessarily superstars. Those are the kinds of acts I've seen put on the best shows in Hamilton. TD Coliseum plays host to a lot of those great acts, but yeah, it's hard to pick just one to name. What else is coming to the First Ontario Concert Hall later this year? One event there that I would recommend anyone go to is the Salute to Vienna. And that is a little waltz-focused orchestral show with dancers and opera singers and all these people. First Ontario Concert Hall. Let's just cut to the chase. Events. Boom.
Oh, this is where you are, Max. Hey, Max.
Hey, buddy.
I've been sending everyone to call you, so Max is.
Hey Max.
Hey.
We talked on the phone earlier about and then you.
Yeah, hell yeah.
How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. Nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, I'm just going over the different acts that'll be coming to the First Ontario Concert Hall later this year.
Oh, okay.
Hamilton Place.
Nice.
Perfect.
And there's some good ones that I'm seeing here. For instance, I brought this one up earlier. Jim Henson's Labyrinth in concert.
My gosh.
In concert with a live score.
Oh, wow.
Incredible.
Yeah, and then September 26th, the Canadian children's music legend Rafi is going to be doing a show there. It's always great when he comes by. John Cleese and Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He'll be coming there to do a little screening of what might be the most classic comedy that there is. There's Venga Boys and Prozac. I brought them up. Owen Riegling and Amanda Marshall. And then, of course, the Nutcracker for the Christmas season. Can't go wrong with the Nutcracker. But I've neglected to mention, at the First Ontario Concert Hall, there is also the Studio Theatre that plays host to its own events. So I'm just going to run off a couple of those. They're starting this September, or end of September. First off is Six Packs, and that is a... how do I put it? It's a Magic Mike type show, where it's a lot of hunky boys who have come out from Europe to put on a big show. And then God is a Scottish drag queen. What is this? Oh, let's see this. God is a Scottish drag queen is one of the most beloved and critically acclaimed one-man comedy shows touring today. God, dressed in a floral power suit, comes down to set the record straight and expound on everything from Noah's Ark to Star Wars, answering humankind's most asked questions in a hilarious and unforgettable night of comedy. Adored by preachers and atheists alike, the show has earned widespread praise for its non-stop, brilliant take on pop culture and humanity through the eyes of a silly, foul-mouthed, and very lovable Scottish deity. Created by comedian Mike Delamont and developed into a two-act show with co-director and co-writer Chantel Delamont, the original production premiered at 2015 at Winnipeg's Pantage Theatre. A new and updated production began touring in the summer of 2022, earning a 96% approval rating with its Toronto premiere with Mirvish Productions. The show's popularity has spawned two completely different standalone sequels and a Christmas special. That sounds like fun. I don't know about you guys, but that's October 2nd, the studio in First Ontario Concert Hall. And then Josh Thomas, another good comedian. Let's see here. After premiering the show at the Melbourne Comedy Festival and touring across Australia's biggest comedy festivals, including Sydney, Perth, and Brisbane, Josh is taking Jiggle Jiggle on the road for international audiences. Josh began performing stand-up comedy 20 years ago and quickly became a mainstay at the Australian comedy scene. Over the years, he has built a... Oh my god, I sound like Porky Pig. Over the years, he has built a devoted global following while also losing three celebrity cooking shows, failing spectacularly at Celebrity Splash and Taskmaster, and arguably curing Bob Catter's homophobia, among many other achievements. If you don't know, Bob Catter is a notably rambunctious Australian politician. He's the creator and star of critically acclaimed television series Please Like Me and Everything's Gonna Be Okay, both of which became international sensations and praised for their honesty, heart, and exploration of meaningful issues. But this year, he's done with being important. With Jiggle Jiggle, Josh promises an hour of dumb, happy, in no way important stand-up. Sounds like fun. And I'm not a stand-up guy, so that's saying something. Following that are a couple of tribute shows. On October 18th, there is going to be a Neil Diamond tribute. On October 20th, there is going to be a Highwaymen tribute. Highwaymen, I would argue, are one of the greatest supergroups out there. So the Highwaymen are Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, and Waylon Jennings, all four of whom are some of the most classic country acts ever. And they all perform together as a part of a group called the Highwaymen. They have a great song called Highwaymen. It's all about kind of the journeys of a soul through life after life, and kind of all the trouble that he gets into. So once again, that's a Neil Diamond tribute and a Highwaymen tribute. And then on the October 24th, 2026, there is going to be the 2026 Pure Athletic Classic, which is going to be a bodybuilding night, which again, not something you often see in Hamilton. So certainly an event worth attending if you are looking for those performance/staged experiences that you just don't often get to witness in Hamilton. Let's see here. Canada's most anticipated CPA-sanctioned bodybuilding and physique competition returns Saturday, October 24th. The Pure Athletic Classic is a premier high-energy bodybuilding contest hosted annually in Ontario. The event functions as an official regional pro qualifier, giving amateur athletes as a direct pathway to advance towards their IFBB pro cards. It's time to bring your best package to the stage. Ha ha. It isn't a show, it's an experience designed by athletes for athletes. Ooh. Another couple other tributes. The world's greatest tribute to the Traveling Wilburys. Speaking of supergroups. Can't get any more stacked than, what was it? Dylan Orbison, Ringo Starr, and I think Jeff Lynne? And then December 17th is one I'm really looking forward to. As a big fan of alternative comedy, Maria Bamford. She's been on loads of shows I like. She's the creator of a show that I like, Lady Dynamite. Just great stuff. Speaking of comedy, I haven't even brought up the Levity Comedy Club yet. There's so many good shows there. I think tonight, Chris Red, who was an SNL cast member and I think might still be, he will be performing a show there. And so I'm just going to see what other acts are coming up at Levity. Speaking of Hamilton comedy, I also have to give another shout out to a dear colleague of mine, Eric Johnson, who is the hardest working comedian in Ontario and a great inspiration for embracing that inner hustle. Here we go. Chris Red is coming to Hamilton Thursday, July 9th for 2 sets. Let's see what else. Hamilton Arts Week show, open mic night, amateur night, Oh, Laughs for Lunches. 1,000 meals for city camp. Jay Yoder, Manolis Zontanos, Dan Brennan. These are all coming here this month, by the way. Jason, oh, no, this is next month now. This is August. Jason Allen, Sam Norton, John Mostyn, and Shannon Laverty. So many good names. Yeah, but I'm just glad to see Chris Red performing there. You know what? What's showing at the rest of the Brought Festival? Because it's a pretty long festival. It runs till fall. The Brought Festival schedule. August 13th. What's at the Brought Festival? Appalachian Spring. Is that going to be here or? It is. Here we go. Appalachian Spring Immersive, which is a work. Appalachian Spring is a work by one of the great contemporary classical American composers, Aaron Copland. If you know that one song goes, that's him. Appalachian Spring. Step inside the music. In this immersive experience, you are surrounded by sound and held within a world of reflection and renewal. Tanya Miller leads all of us as Copland's Appalachian Spring unfolds with radiant simplicity. Schubert's Unfinished Symphony lingers with haunting beauty, and Glenn Buer's In Gloriam offers a moment of quiet reverence. Orchestral Fireworks. Woo! Okay. A blazing finale of passion, meditation, and orchestral power. What's going to be here? Ooh, Mahler's Ninth. Ooh. Wow. Let's see. A season finale of breathtaking scale and unstoppable energy, Orchestral Fireworks ignites the stage with bold color, sweeping beauty, and virtuosic brilliance. From Mahler's profound lyricism to the fiery passion of Rodrigo and the dazzling wit of Strauss. Big sound, high drama, a thrilling close to the season you won't want to miss. And so that is going to be Mahler's Symphony Number 9. Mahler, what a composer Mahler was. Mahler kind of built on how Beethoven really expanded on the modern symphony form. And Mahler just took it to another level. The Ninth Symphony, it's another posthumous symphony, just like Schubert's Unfinished. Then Rodrigo's Concerto de Aranjuez is one that I love. I love. Shane Cook and the Wood Chippers. What's this now? I see a guy with a double bass. I like a double bass. Ooh, Theater Aquarius. Feel it from the first note. With blazing speed and infectious momentum, Shane Cook and the Wood Chippers take the stage in an exhilarating collision of fiddle and orchestra. Bold, vibrant, and full of life, you'll be swept up in a high-energy rush of rhythm and sound. I like fiddles and I like orchestra. So that looks like a lot of fun. And it's nice that they're following up a folk-driven ensemble with Appalachian Spring, which takes a lot from folk music. But of this bunch, the one that I would feel most compelled to see is probably Beethoven and Stravinsky. You just can't beat that. You can't beat a Beethoven symphony, and you can't beat Stravinsky at his best. I just wish they would do something by show. No, Debussy, La Mer. That was What? What?
I'm just saying hi to the camera.
Oh. Hey. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So what I love about the Brat Festival specifically is just that it goes back to the kind of 20th century phenomenon of bringing the experience of art that was initially only to be witnessed by an exclusive class of people to the general public. For instance, a lot of composers, going back to pretty much when classical music as we know it was starting off, a lot of those composers were court composers. The only place that their music would be performed would be in royal courts and in events hosted by these aristocrats and what have you. But around the 20th century, with the dawn of things like recorded music and all that, the experience of being able to witness an orchestra play in its full might started becoming more accessible than ever. And ultimately, it is the Brat Festival that kind of fulfills that ideal of bringing an experience that feels exclusive, but really it's meant to be for everyone. That's why it's classical. It's classics. It's all the classics. Yeah, that being said, I love particularly the Stravinsky performance. I love because it's a ballet, but it can also be performed with solo orchestra. Petrushka is it's interesting too because the ballet Petrushka is set. It's like a story within a story. Petrushka, the gist of the ballet is that you're arriving at the big Shrovetide Fair in Renaissance era Russia, and you arrive to see the puppet show being told, and you get to see all these puppets reenact this classic story that had been passed on. So Petrushka, it's really interesting to me because it combines sort of the pedestrian traditions of a carnival, of puppet shows and all this, with this high orchestral eloquence and the kind of juxtaposition of those two, the pedestrian and the aristocratic, makes something beautiful. It reminds me of a line from it was a comedian I love, Sam Kinison, and he says, "You must combine the what was it? Either way, you combine the something with the grotesque, and the result is art. The eloquent with the grotesque, or something like that." Yeah. Anyway, go watch the short film Norm on YouTube if you have not seen it already. It's one of the most beautiful pieces of art I've seen all year. It's just like a 6-minute short film, so it won't be a moment of your time. It's very lushly animated. It's adult animation, but in the sense of it's not like kid animation is for kids, but this is a bunch of naughty stuff. It's like adult animation doesn't have to be that. Animation itself is a medium, not a genre. And Norm, which is the name of that short story, is one of the best examples of kind of how that functions too. And you learn a very valuable lesson about comedy. You learn a valuable lesson about kind of how art is perceived as art. Here, either way, you're combining the. What is it? I digress. But yeah, the Brat Festival, you gotta love it. one of my old colleagues, or a couple of my old colleagues, who I did theater class with, they recently starred. Not recently. This was a while ago. This was before COVID. They starred in a Brought Festival production of My Fair Lady. And usually the Brought Festival doesn't do musicals, but with the age that it was written, My Fair Lady is one of those musicals that almost has an operatic sense to it, so it kind of makes sense that they chose it. Yeah. Yeah. What are some other Brought Festival highlights? Yeah, that one's in Burlington. What's the Waterfront soundtrack? Let's have a look at that. Because that's going to be at the Waterfront stage at Pier 8 by Williams Fresh Cafe. It says, relax by the water, enjoy the scenery, and discover how live music can transform an ordinary summer day into something memorable. Enjoy a vibrant mix of brass and percussion favorites performed by musicians of the National Academy Orchestra of Canada. Whether you're strolling the pier, enjoying lunch by the lake, or gathering with family and friends, experience the energy and excitement of live orchestral music in one of Hamilton's most scenic public spaces. And like I say, that plus the whole orchestra pop-up happening downtown, it just goes to kind of further that philosophy that any space ultimately can be a performance space. It's whether there are people there to witness that performance. It's kind of a Schrodinger's cat thing. Yeah, which reminds me, recently, after the hearing on the AI data center, which keep your eyes out for that. There's going to be more news about that coming out soon. With that, after the application was denied, Jeff Dunaway, who is one of the hosts of that Mixed Commons workshop and is kind of the one-man show behind the Squat DJ Collective, he actually brought down, it was just like a little folding table, couple of speakers, and his DJ kit and USB. And he held a little party for everyone. And it was there where it was just in the roller rink down at the pier. And he was able to transform that roller rink into a dance floor, just like that. So if there's one thing I'm hoping to see more of in Hamilton, it's those companies and collectives and performers and artists who are just willing to let any space become a performance space. Goes back to that live painting that I kept bringing up. The upcoming event at the Cotton Factory. That's going to be not the Cotton Factory, the Spice Factory. Hamilton's got too many factories, man. But the Spice Factory live painting exhibition later this month is going to be a killer. Speaking of art installations, going back to Supercrawl, I also have to shout out my buddies from Dialed and Dropspot because they're running their little run. They're not little. It's grown a lot. They're running their run club, and they are going to be hosting a super run for Supercrawl. So you're going to have the entirety of James Street just overrun with these joggers. And the last big one of their events that I went to, it was incredible. Let's see, what was it? Oh yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say. What was I? Oh, Supercrawl. The last run club that I had attended. I don't usually attend them. I gotta get my cardio working again. Anyhow, usually I decided to go because this was during the Open Streets Festival that was happening downtown. And what I witnessed was this great big run club running through the streets, and right at the front of it, they had this. It was like a little golf cart sized thing, like a little car. And then in the back of that car, the trunk of that car, they had their DJ decks, their speakers, their little power station. And using those, they were just able to put on a full DJ show. And while everybody was running along with them. I ultimately, truthfully, couldn't keep the pace. So as everybody continued on, I just kind of kept walking. But when they came back around, it was so incredible. Just this huge crowd of runners and the little cart kind of showing up. Then me rejoining them to be a part of the pack. And on that note, keep an eye out because the Dialed Drop Spot team are going to do some cool stuff this Halloween. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot around Halloween in Hamilton. What else is there to talk about? I have been talking for 3 hours and 50 minutes at this point. What is there to bring up that I haven't brought up already? Man. I just gotta keep bringing up Melissa Dutch. Talented woman. I'll go on a little tangent about Melissa Dutch that I like about her is that I think I brought this up before. Melissa, when she sings, she moves as she sings. She lets the music guide her body in a sense. And it's interesting learning that and kind of witnessing that because it reminds me of a little fact that I learned. The musician Kate Bush, she only ever went on one tour in the 80s. And it was on that tour where she had kind of a specific vision of how she wanted each show to be. She just didn't want to come out on stage and sing songs. She wanted this to be kind of an extravaganza. And because Kate Bush prioritized the art of dancing alongside music, and just like Melissa, she kind of let the music guide her motion. She wanted a way where she could continuously sing and have it be heard while dancing. Because pretty much every other concert tour up to that point, they didn't really have microphones like that. They just had the classic stands with the radio-looking mic. But Kate Bush did not want that to happen. She needed to move and sing and have it all be heard and seen. So for that tour, they pretty much invented an entirely new style of microphone, the in-ear microphone. And that it continues to be the classic microphone model used in pretty much every big scale arena tour, stadium tour, concert to this day. All because Kate Bush wanted to prioritize that dance. And so it's people like her and people like Melissa that reminds me that the Hamilton arts scene is still innovating itself to this day. Now that you'll still see new creative takes on classic artistic formulas. You'll see all these different what was I saying? Oh yeah, you'll see all these different forms of art come together, sometimes on their own and just in the same place. Sometimes they're all a part of the same work. But in combining those, you kind of get a brand new sense on what that kind of work of art is. Like as an example, at the Fringe last year. No, wait, it was 2 years ago. At the Fringe 2 years ago. Never mind. Fringe 1 year ago. I brought it up before. The giant space monster that ate Hamilton in 3D. I saw that. And they used all sorts of different forms of art for that story and the telling of that story. So the big gist of it was they had the two guys playing all the different characters, and that meant they couldn't just quick change and put different outfits on. So what they did was they made these little paper cutouts. Oh, and I have to say this: the stage was framed with like a sort of TV frame, so all the action was kind of meant to take place in this central little frame, like you were watching it on a TV. So what they ended up doing was they ended up crafting all these different like cutouts of, say, it reminds me of something you would see in a theme park where there's a little hole in it and you stick your face into it. The bottom makes you look like you're a cowboy or a princess or something. But what they were able to do in order to play all these different characters on this movie or in this play, they got all these different little cutouts that they had made and stuck them against their face. And whenever they had to play like a space monster or anything, they had this great big puppet they had built. And to pull off the 3D part of the show, they literally just stuck a fishing pole right into the audience and dangled the stuff in front of your faces. So it was like it was really coming at you. Woo. Yeah, but that's the Hamilton. If you want 5 recommendations for the Hamilton Fringe this month, I would say Rebel Spirits, Giant Monster That Ate Hamilton, live mixtape. Let's see. Rebel Spirits, Giant Monster That Ate Hamilton, live mixtape. What are my other 2? Oh, for What They Labored or whatever it was called, the Comedy of Errors. For What They Labored, or for How They something at St. Luke's Mission, and let's throw a wild card in there. Tamp by Claude Spadafora. But yeah, the list goes on and on and on. There's all these different talents and different shows that you can see out there at the Fringe. But for Super Crawl, I would say my 5 would be Golden Feather, DJ's Flying Circus, Melissa Dutch, Golden Feather, Melissa Dutch, Isanabi, and there's so many good ones. Yeah, screw Protest the Hero. Protest the Hero. That musical act, of course. Supercrawl. You gotta catch but if you want one place to spend time at Supercrawl, check out the fashion stage. That's where you'll see some fun stuff. Better Days Club. This guy over here, Dope Chief, he's got a collection that he's gonna start the stuff. You got the Muses, you got Lady Grey Burlesque, you got Steel City Slither, you got the Sapphic Poison Drag Extravaganza. Again, the list just goes on, and that's the beautiful part about Hamilton. It's just that you can talk about all these different acts and all these different art forms for 4 hours straight and still not be done. And yeah, I got 2.5 minutes to go. Yeah, man, where to go from here? Where to go from here? I know where to go. I'll be going to And Then You in Residence later tonight. That's pretty fun. Let's see. Let me see. Oh yeah, Ooey Gooey's for their cheeseburgers, Tony G's for their pizza, Goldie's for their real good cheeseburgers. Oh yeah, Chark Shawarma on the mountain is the best shawarma in the city. Because they cook their meat over real charcoal. So you get that kind of texture or flavor of like cooked by fire within the meat. It is yummy. Chark Shawarma. What else? What else? I'm out of juice, you guys. Where do I go from here? Where can I go from here? Fuck. Yeah, I've said pretty much everything I've needed to say. I got nothing, you guys. Thanks so much for staying tuned to the live stream. And I hope to see you all out and about,
End the stream.
within
End
and
the
without.
stream, dude. End the stream.
Fare thee well.